Good. Thank you, and welcome to the July 7th, 2026 Village of Buchanan Board Meeting. In case of emergency, please use the exit to my left, which would be your right. And also, there is a staircase behind the elevator. Do not use the elevator in case of emergency. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay, we have some minutes to approve. The May 26th workshop meeting and the June 2nd board meeting. Any comments, questions on that?
No comments.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next is comments from the floor. Agenda items only. If you do comment on this part of it, you'll be able to comment later on also. So these, everyone has an agenda? No? Yes? So then you wouldn't know what the agenda items are. Okay. Mr. Nick?
Not a comment, but could I ask for clarification?
Sure.
Nick Zachary, 80 Tate Avenue. The new business A, resolution to intent to act as lead agency. I just want to clarify, that is the parcel, the 7-acre parcel across from Lents Cove that is being looked at for possible development.
Yes.
Okay. On C, I'm just trying to understand what parcel that is referring to. Because the GIS mapping site right now online is not working. I tried to go online, but they've redirected the website and it wouldn't operate. I guess they're transitioning it or something. So in C, what parcel of land are we talking about there?
That would be the waterfront near Certainteed. That area.
Okay, is that the area between Broadway and the sheetrock plant?
It's on that side of the road. It's on the westerly
West-
side.
Okay. Okay, so is that would be the first parcel that is possibly getting released and sold off?
Not yet. At the decommissioning oversight board meeting, they're working on doing a site release, but there's a lot more work. There was cesium found, and they're still doing a lot of study
Okay.
on that property.
Okay.
So not quite yet, but we do need to have a discussion on that, so when it is released, we know what
Okay.
we're doing.
I won't make any comments now. I just wanted to get clarification. Thanks.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Teresa, can I say something, please?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to explain why I'm wearing a mask. It's not that I'm sick, but I had a dental procedure and my face is swollen, so I just felt better with the mask on. Okay? Just don't want anyone to think I'm here with COVID.
Oh, no, no.
Good
No,
evening,
not
Jeff
myself.
Fiella, 212 Craft Lane. Madam Mayor, why would you want to take lead agency over these zonings?
Jeff, I am in total agreement. When we went with the AMS project, I was against it. Sean Murray and I were against lead agency. The developers have done extensive research, did not realize that years ago it was put into the code that the board would be lead agency on these big projects. I personally do not think that's a good idea. I believe that it should be solely in the hands of the planning and zoning board, who are trained and have experience. But on this, my hands are tied. But I am in agreement with you. It should go to the planning board.
Because the only time the board should take lead agency if it has to do with some safety concern. You didn't even take lead agency for the new pad for the Holtec rods being there.
I'm not sure if you're speaking
I'm
directly to
talking
me,
to
but
Everybody, the whole board, yes.
in the
But-
village
but-
code, in the
Can I
C1,
finish,
C2
please?
district,
Can I
it is.
finish,
go ahead.
please, sir? But the mayor already appointed a zoning and a planning board. By you guys taking lead agency, you're cutting us out. You're not saving any time for any of these contractors coming in, sir.
It's in village code. That's the requirement. We didn't change anything. We didn't do anything different than what village code says.
We should have changed, going back years ago, it was switched over to the village board. We
was-
should have, in the last couple of years, changed it over before this process started, because I will tell you this, some of the, the planning trainings that are, I do not have secret basics training, I do not have planning or zoning land use, preparing update for growth, managing the unexpected boom. These are just some of the training courses, Jeff. Understand and apply in SECRA, the what, why, how of site plan, and common mistakes and mishaps in site plan reviews. So I don't have that extensive training that the planning and zoning board members would do. That should be taking 4 hours each year of some type of training.
But that's if they take the training, and we receive the data from the village clerk, and it shows that some have not even taken the training. I take trainings online, so if you speak about not having any experience, then I guess it's for you. But I do try to tap into the zoning and the planning meetings, and I also take trainings online.
Okay, very good, Awilda.
Thank
But I
you.
don't think most of the board does.
I also have the required hours for training and planning and zoning.
I understand you may have the training, but there's already a zoning board and a
And
planning
if you,
board
re-
in place.
if you recall, as the chairman of the planning board, during the AMS application, that project did go before your board for 4 months. And your board had provided input and recommendations onto that project.
But you took lead.
Okay, but what does that mean? You provided your
You took
input.
lead of a project, and then you had someone else come in as a consultant to go over the project.
But that's what the planning board does as well. The
planning
same
board-
planner,
the
David
planning
Smith,
board
who's not
would've
here
had-
now.
Had the village building inspector do all the inspections that needed to do. You just cut the whole procedure out. And
No.
this, by taking lead, also you do stuff under executive.
Nothing was done in
sessions.
executive session number one, and what we did was actually provide another layer of coverage for the village. So that applicant had to go before your board, it went before the zoning board, and went numerous times before this board.
But you as the board should be superseding everyone underneath you. So in case something happened by you taking lead, you're
And
taking.
any recommendations made by the planning board was implemented by this board. And I believe there wasn't.
I don't believe all of that. I
There
understand.
there
some of
absolutely
it,
was. Absolutely was.
But
And I think-
in my eyes as a taxpayer and part of the
But
board.
it goes back
by
to the
you
way-
taking lead shouldn't be done.
But it goes back to the way the village code is
I
written.
don't care what it was in the back then.
But you may not care, but that's the way village code is. I can't go against the way village code is
You
written.
can. You don't have to take lead. You already
I absolutely
have
have
a
to.
planning in the zone.
We could change the code. We certainly
We
could.
should have before this application came in, because I am in total support of the planning board always taking
But I
lead,
get-
because not only the training, you have more experience with different things that come in front of the board.
But I'm
But
just
as it
saying.
pointed out, some of the members don't have the training.
And some of the members on this board don't have the training.
And I was on the
So
planning
we're,
board as
you know,
well.
We're,
So I don't understand.
I don't know.
Why
I
we're being
just, I
undermined.
think it's a disservice to our planning
Oh, my
board,
goodness.
honestly. So, but that's my opinion, and, but, definitely appreciate the planning board's
But I'm
efforts.
I'm just letting you know, as a taxpayer, you shouldn't take any lead project unless it has to do with safety. And you already showed that with the pad with the nuclear rods. You didn't even take lead on that. Thank you, ma'am.
That wasn't in the
Thank you.
overlay district.
It wasn't written in the code that way.
And then Jeff, not only that, with this last process on the AMS, we were approving things that were already done, which should not have done, and this time that's not going to happen.
Wouldn't that be illegal if the village approved something that was?
Why are you making
I'm just
accusations?
responding
You know,
to
you're making
Jeff.
accusations, not
I'm
responding.
not making
He did not bring
accusations.
that
I
up. You just
remember
brought that up.
voting on that.
Did he
And
bring
I'm
that up?
trying to bolster what he's saying by having the planning board take the
And
lead.
this is
That's
why
all
we
I'm
can never
saying.
work together.
Well,
Never.
Anthony,
Never.
I'm sorry you feel that
It's
way. I
unfortunate.
have
It
I
really
have
is
put the
unfortunate
olive
because
branch
you-
but
out
there's four
many
of
a
us here
time.
that
Don't
can't
give me
work
no
with
olive
one
branch,
person.
Please. I don't need anything from you.
I didn't realize it was that on the agenda again?
Oh,
To
here
go
it is,
after the
attack.
mayor
It's always
again?
on the agenda.
It's always on the agenda.
And you know
To
what?
hold
First
you
of all, I have to
responsible.
apologize. I apologize to everyone. This conversation is just going downhill. You're not here for this. Yes, ma'am, you are the next to speak.
Darlene Garrett, First Street. So, Trustee Laker, you just actually said something I wanted to say is, before you, well, let me ask a different question. I heard in this discussion, though, that the application's already been submitted.
Which application are you referring to?
So not gonna remember the
The Broadway?
developer's name, but across from Lens Cove.
Broadway project.
So because the workshop was whether you're gonna accept the application. So the application has been submitted and accepted?
The application is before.
Go ahead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean, it was just referred to before, because you said before, we should have changed the code, which is what I was gonna ask,
I
before
was
the
referring to
application.
the AMS application, the AMS project.
Oh.
Because I know that that's a concern. It's still a concern today. The building is complete, but it's still a concern that this board was the lead agency in that project.
Right. So we haven't accepted the application then for this other development?
On the agenda tonight is to,
I can ask that out
the
off the
intent
agenda.
as lead agency.
Okay, so I can ask. So as the gentleman, I'm sorry, I don't know all the names, spoke, so why don't we change the code before we go any further with other projects? Because I heard from some trustees during election time, after election time, that, the AMS building wasn't it wasn't as expected the build to be all the way. So all I'm saying is that maybe there isn't the education needed fully, and it's great if you can educate yourselves, but maybe the code should be changed first before we go,
But let me just ask you a question.
Sure.
What would that change? Because it goes before the planning board anyway. So it only provides another layer. It delays actually the applicant because they have to come before this board. Then they go to the planning board, and in some cases, the zoning board, and then they come back here.
Yeah, so I guess I would echo whoever's going okay, and, to answer trustee
The
Laker
planning,
is.
it's sent to the planning board only for recommendations, their recommendations.
And if this board didn't implement those recommendations, then you certainly would have a concern. But during the AMS project, anything that was recommended by the planning board was implemented. So I just don't know what the concern is.
Well, I guess I would ask, why do we have a planning and zoning board then?
Well, planning in most municipalities, and our attorney can explain it, is recommended. It's not mandatory. A zoning board is.
So maybe I'm hearing that we don't need those boards because,
A zoning board you do. Planning board you do
Zoning
not.
board is a quasi-legal. We have to have a zoning board.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. Yes, sir? Yes, sir. Normally, see, tonight, there's a lot of people with a lot of questions, and a lot of residents have questions, and normally it's a 3-minute, but please come up and let us know what your thoughts are.
Well, I haven't timed it because, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Sal, give me a minute, please. I haven't timed it because we've been asking the speakers questions, but if we don't interrupt, it'll be 3 minutes.
And I am the chair of this meeting, and I want to hear what the residents have to say.
I understand, but you're the
Thank
one
you.
that
Sal,
implemented, I'm still
please.
speaking. You were the one who implemented the
I
rule.
did, because that's.
So now
the
you're
rule we've
changing
always
the
had.
rule.
For this evening, to
'cause
hear
it
what the
benefits you.
public has, it's not a benefit
Okay,
to
yeah,
me.
all right, never
These
mind.
people,
Never mind, never
all
mind.
those people
Teresa,
out there
never mind.
are residents of the village
So are
of
we.
Buchanan.
Teresa, so are we.
We work for each and every one of
And
them.
for ourselves.
And to be disrespectful to anyone, to stop them from speaking, absolutely not.
Sal, I'm
These
sorry
are
if I
residents.
disrespected you. I was in the process of speaking when you came up. I'm a little slow today with my words because of my procedure. So I
Sorry.
apologize to you, and I'll apologize to the audience if you feel disrespected. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but I will also not be disrespected.
Me
And
too.
and that's the bottom line. Go ahead, Sal, I'm
I
sorry.
agree. Sal,
Now
please
I
go
only
ahead.
have 1 minute left.
Oh, geez, I know, right? Sorry,
And I
Sal.
have 5 pages of notes.
Oh,
here.
Lord, you're going to have to
Sal.
speak fast.
Pardon me,
gentle.
I'm Salvatore Tavano III, residing at 167 Lindsay Avenue. I want to say that I'm in agreement with having the planning board as the lead, and I think it's a disservice to the village to have, in so many cases, to have the Board of Trustees as the lead. I think good governance would dictate more of a division of and a broadening of the responsibilities, and that would be beneficial to the residents. And I would hope that whatever is necessary to change, whatever rules you were mentioning, which you know, you might comment on what the village code says you can do, but it doesn't have to be done that way, and I believe it shouldn't be. And I would anticipate changes as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sal, for your comments. Yes, sir.
Eric Warner, 159 Sword Street. So I got a question. So Brian and Bernie Calvers did Gallon Measure. Why did you guys not take lead agency on that particular project? Was there a reason?
They submit an application for, they just submit for the building permit.
Right, they're in the C1, C2, but
Yeah.
they did not
But they had to go
require,
through. They had to go through zoning.
they did not require a zone tax amendment
They had to
change.
amend because of what was it,
Their site plan, they had to go to planning.
They had to rezone for their site plan, the new
Okay.
site plan.
So, but you could have still took lead agency over them. Could you or could you not?
No, the same with the Carbone project. We were not lead agency.
Okay. And why is it so imperative to this board to be lead agency when you could technically turn it over?
I will say, it is written in the code.
So you
We
can-
went by by the recommendation of our attorney, of our planner, that stated, this is the way it's written in the code, these are the procedures. And with these larger projects such as that, it's more important and beneficial that there's more eyes on everything, so everybody can take a look at it.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but you already have 2 layers below you. You're the top layer. Why not give them more of a say than just a recommendation?
We never eliminated any of their say. They had as much
So
say as they
instead
always
of,
had.
instead of 2 layers, now there are 3 layers. I mean, wouldn't the public want more?
But can you or can you not let them be lead agency is the question, bottom line.
The code would have to be changed. Any code could be changed. It would have to be changed. We're going by the letter of the law, the way the code is written. That's all.
We've done a lot of code
Carbone?
changing over the years.
Yes, I've seen that. Thank you.
Yeah, it could be changed, but like I said, the Carbone project never went before this board, ever, never once. Same with Gallon Measure.
Well, that project probably should have.
Well,
Well, there you go.
you can't have it both ways.
There you go. So what is it?
Then,
Do it or
okay,
don't do it.
but then this project should go back to planning and zoning. Somehow it should change the code.
But any project that goes before us as lead agency does go to planning
So
and zoning.
then change the code before you go through to this next level.
Well, why,
But
but
you-
why should we go against Mr. Carbone's project?
Wetlands, bunch of stuff over there, people looked it up. So there's plenty of things over there, right? But that's done. We can't talk about what's done. What's done is done over there. What's done
No,
is done.
it's not even close to being done yet.
No, as far as it's already under development, it's in the mix.
But what
okay?
I'm
Just like the
trying-
MSA building, it's done. Can't go back and fix anything that's wrong. It's done.
But I'm just trying to understand your point. Are you looking for us to take for 3 layers of approval or for review with the Carbone project?
Well,
But not on the Broadway project? I just
Well,
want to
like I said,
understand what the,
I think you should change the code so it goes through the bottom layers first and then the top layer. Because the top layer has proven they push certain things through. It's been seen already. Putting that building in the position you put it in up there, and you know my position on this, if you're on the back of that building or in the throat of that building, and there are other firemen in this room that could vouch for this, somebody's going to have a hard time getting to them. Fireproof or not, fires don't kill people, smoke kills people. 18 people died in the Bronx. There's one guy back here behind me, that's a New York City fireman, that was at that fire, and we'll attest to that. So this is why, when you make decisions like that, multiple eyes are on it, but how much did you ignore somebody on these boards?
And-
I know it was brought up numerous times.
right, and those discussions were also had at the planning board. And that input was provided by the planning board as well as the fire chief. So there was a lot of changes that were made from what they first proposed to what's there now. And that was all in agreement with the planning board and the fire chief.
Well, from what I understand from the fire department itself, they were not happy with it getting it pushed back that far, where nobody can get around the back of the building and get somebody on the top floors.
I think we have to be much more clear and ask more questions. We should have learned from the AMS project going forward.
Right, I concur. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Zachary, yes, go ahead. Too bad.
Okay, as planning board chairman, I don't want to get into the discussion. I think you guys probably know how I feel about who should be doing the review, but that's not what I want to point out, there's a bigger issue. Not who is doing it, but what they do. Okay, when I was on the village board, we hashed out the overlay zone, It got approved at three stories with a maximum of, with a special permit, a maximum of 12 units per 40,000 square feet, which is roughly an acre, a little less than an acre. And then when this board took lead agency and also amended the code, and by the way, everybody should know that only the village board can amend the code. The planning board and zoning board cannot do that. They can interpret the code or use the code in their site plan review process. But when you guys took that on, you changed the zoning to allow people to go from 12 and 3 stories to 28 units per acre and 5 stories. What a lot of people are expressing now is that that might be a bit much. And, you know, at the last workshop, several people made the point that we haven't gotten the full impact yet. So I think we just need to go cautiously, that we should need to let those current developments get occupied, see what the traffic does, assess it before we move on. I might have been like I was the person that proposed the overlay zone, but as it stands now, I think it's excessive. And I would say that the board, you know, when you spot zone, you gave a special zoning to one parcel, that weakens your zoning code when you spot zone, because then somebody else is going to want it, you know. And if you just give things away every time a developer pops up, that weakens your zoning code. You lose control of your village. So I think we just really need to walk forward cautiously, assess what we've got, maybe even put a time period moratorium based on those buildings getting occupied before we start letting other developments, large-scale developments take place. That's about 220 units total between the Carbone development, AMS, and the 11 townhouses that are in the works on Blakely and Route 9A. So it's just a word of caution, and let's focus on what we do rather than which board does it. Whoever does it has to get it right.
Hi, Lisa Mercora, 162 First. So I just wanted to say to the board, as far as this resolution declaring notice of intent to act as lead agency, I would say don't make that resolution today. Slow down, take a breath. I'm from a corporate background. After a strategy change, you do a debrief. You look back, you do an analysis. Time was not right for them a year, and they went away for a year. Well, maybe right now the time is not right for us. It's nothing personal against the developer, but we need to look back. We just did 148 units. We have 51 in construction, 11 more coming. They're in various stages of development. What is good about them? What is bad? What did we miss? Did we miss share mitigation? Did we miss impact fees? Did we leave some things out that we could have done? Do we need to change the code so CCOR doesn't automatically make the trustees lead on the entire project? And the big question, the feedback from the residents, do we want more of these developments if the tax relief is so minimal? AMS, we never saw a fiscal impact statement. I referred to it when the last time I spoke that I had asked Mark Weingarten, I got the name wrong, to tell me what he was referring to when he stacked the expenses against the tax revenue. And he said that he had done something to that effect. He said he had a specific number that represented the bottom line, the net surplus. I asked him what that was. He looked for it and couldn't find it. I asked for it multiple times over the course of the next months. I met with Marcus before he left on vacation, and I asked him about this. Again, he looked for it. He does not know what Mr. Weingarten was referring to. He reached back out to that company, to Mr. Weingarten. They said they only have what's in the EAF and the negative declaration. Neither of those did what I'm looking for. So basically, I think our process has a big miss where we are not looking at the financial impact. Yes, they can talk about these little effects, big effects, they can give verbiage, but somebody needs to do a financial impact statement. And we should be doing this on every project. If we are promoting these projects as ways to bring tax relief to our village residents, then we should know what that is really doing. AMS brought $300,000 of revenue is the latest update. You know what? We have $1.7 million budgeted for public safety, which is police, fire, and building. We have to admit that there is going to be some type of expense related to that. The wastewater treatment plant, it's in our budget for $630,000. We found out last meeting or 2 meetings ago that they're going to be pumping 23,000 gallons a day. Well, then they should be attributed to 8% of that total for $630,000. So that's part of their expense base. Also on what makes up our village budget is 5.5 million of other expenses that keep our village going. Basically our infrastructure, general government support, other home and community, employees, employee benefits, culture and recreation. There's a bunch of other things. Some part of that 5.5 million is going to be affected, increased, or used by this new development. You can't introduce 318 people, 148 units, increase our population by 13% and not do this. The police, 1,700 calls a year. With this level of population, there could be another 200 calls. Yes, it's maybe when we looked at it line by line by line, small impact, small impact, small impact, but they all add up. And we're only bringing in 300,000 on the taxes that they're giving us. So when you take all these small effects, I mean, I'm just doing a stab at it because nobody else did, and I couldn't see this document that Mr. Weingarten referred to. So what is the true impact to the average taxpayer of this? $90 a year? That's when I look at it, and I did some calculations. I tried my best. Of the 300,000, if you only really deliver 150,000, it's $90 of relief to the taxpayer. So the people that say they want all this development for tax relief, or when the trustees promote it that way, is it really a fair way to promote it? Like, don't promote it that way if it's not going to help the taxpayers that much. If you really want it for other reasons, so be it. But don't promote it as being a big tax relief, because it is not. So I have those points. If I can keep going, I'm almost done. The project itself has so many questions that I think I would love for you guys to maybe focus on before we give them the go-ahead by doing the lead agency thing. Because once you decide that and the balls start rolling, it's going to start happening really quick. And I believe, I'm not sure, but if you guys meet together 2 or 3 times a month, there's so much. I mean, they talked about this 3 acres that they want to take of our land that's next to the wastewater treatment plant. And are we ready to sell or give them this land? I'm not clear what it is. We said in this one meeting on May 26th that George was going to go back and look at it because we really might need to save it for when we go and develop the Entergy land, and we have a lot of projects in the future. They talked about this LDA agreement. I listened to the meetings. I went back and watched everything again, both the AMS ones and these ones. And from these ones, the LDA, I'm not even clear, do they want to buy the property from us or just get it for free in exchange for the work they will do at Lents Cove? And whatever it is, I think you guys need to decide what that land is worth before you have them telling you. Don't you want to do that and do the appraisal and talk about the strategy before you have them involved and pushing? So we don't really know we don't know about the LDA, or at least I don't understand about the LDA, Land Development Agreement. And if that's the case, that they want that land in the Land Development Agreement, the extra 3 acres, so that they can add to their 7 acres and increase their density and increase their amount of units, and they want to do the Lens Cove property, well, you know what? If we really are so concerned about our finances and what we have pending and what taxes our villagers are paying, then if someone's offering us a big chunk of money to do a Lens Cove project, maybe we should be really thinking about using it for something that's more crucial, because we say that we need tax relief. So that's not going to get us tax relief. And I mean, I'm not a tax assessor, but obviously if AMS brought us $300,000 of tax revenue, and if this project is similarly on the original parcel, 6 acres, 232 acres, it's basically 1.5 of the AMS's, and it has the extra 3 acres, which is half of the AMS land but it's raw land. So I mean, like, is this project going to top line be 550,000 of revenue? I mean, is that like, I know I'm not a tax assessor, and but I'm just trying to figure it out in my head. And based on AMS, I mean, if that's the case, once again, we're adding 1,000 people by the time we get there. Of our 1.7 million of police and fire, you know, forget about just looking at a portion of that. If we have to add a policeman or two, a policeman's car or two, more space in the office for 2 new officers, I mean, everything kind of keeps going and going. And they're going to be pumping water through the wastewater treatment facility. Is that another 80 grand? There's going to be their portion of whatever is left of our $5.5 million of expenses. And when I went through the expenses in the budget, I specifically removed things that you could never attribute to any resident, like debt repay. Oh, you could actually, but I removed things that I didn't feel were like services or things you could say benefited a person. But I mean, my question becomes, why are we doing all these projects if the tax relief is so low? We're granting all these zoning changes, we're granting variances, we're doing site permit or site plans or permits that don't go along with our master plan. And we've had more and more people coming forward saying they don't want this development. And I know in the past, I've heard from some of you, Lisa, you tell me people don't want the development, but where are they? They never come. And I've tried to tell you, whatever, people don't like to speak or they are busy, but more and more people are coming now and they're telling you. And also I'm talking to more people, and I have still yet to meet someone that is like, rah, go development. I have met someone that said, I need to study it. I need to look at everything. And I told him, well, you better do it quick because it's happening as we speak. But I just still resoundingly meet and talk to the people that don't want it. And I was interested in the last meeting to hear from these different population profiles within our village. I mean, I know what I feel. I'm a senior citizen. Well, I think I qualify as senior. I'm 60. And I know that this amount of tax relief does not sway me. The amount of tax relief is so little. But we heard from other people in the village that are in a different profile, the younger families, the younger adults. We heard from a wide assortment of people. And a couple people were like, we have to develop. And one comment was, you know, very much worried about the village tax, but the village tax increases have been very minimal for the last 4 or 5 years. We're still the lowest in Westchester, as far as I know. You know, this comment that it is incumbent upon the board to develop all open land. Well, somebody said that in the audience, and you know, that is not true. It is incumbent on the board to protect the village, manage our tax increases in balance with what the villagers want. And more, they're coming forward to say, don't develop everything just for these very small amounts. So those are my feelings. So anyway,
Thank you, Lisa.
I know that was a lot, but I hope you will really consider just slowing down and looking at this stuff and really maybe not doing this development to this level. There's no rush. We don't have to be crazy rushed. Why are we panicked? So that's my feeling.
Lisa, just real
Yes.
quick, you had some great points, but
Yes.
in regards to the land development agreement,
Yes.
I had some questions in regards to that. The
Yes.
attorney that's going to assist this board as well as the planning and zoning board has not even been hired yet. So he's here tonight, I believe. We're looking to retain that individual, and then he'll help. So there's been no discussions as far as that's concerned. So you feeling that you're in the dark on that? Because there's been nothing that's happened with that yet. So it's
But I would like
it's a work in progress.
I saw what went on with AMS, especially after we had the public hearings for the zoning changes. Then a lot was just moved along just everything was boom, 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 boom. And, the villagers were not aware. We didn't have the signage up. A lot of people didn't know about it. And I just don't want us to be in that position again. And I feel like there's more to explore on your side and our staff side. The whole thing that I keep bringing up, the financials, I feel like in our processes, there is a miss. I don't see where that is done. Like right now, for Giordano Properties, there is a fiscal impact statement in the developments folder on our website. And who is going to analyze that? Because they mentioned it in the planning board meeting. I went there. And then they're getting the zoning board meeting tomorrow to get the zoning variance. But where in the process, now that's a different process than when you guys are lead agency, but where in that process does anyone really study the financials to make sure what they're submitting is even correct? And to make sure, that you guys know what it really brings us. And maybe that, that's important. But I don't see where in the process that is going to be done. And that is marching ahead. And as far as when you guys are lead agency, I didn't see that it got the attention it deserved. I didn't see that. I know you said we did our due diligence, we looked at all these expenses, but as far as I can tell, nobody really stacked it up against the revenue. And like I said, I have the quote, then the clip from 3 different times in one meeting and 1 time in one meeting where it was referred to. But yet the document I can't find. And I did speak to Marcus. I was thinking of sending you all the clip and saying, do you have this document? But I've asked you all for it before. So I just feel like if you guys don't look at that and delve into it a little bit, don't just accept what the board, there's a couple statements on it was either the negative declaration or the EAF, or maybe the expanded EAF, where they said, in our opinion, this will not drive. In our opinion, this, okay, that's their opinion, but did you guys really, study it? AMS was such a big thing. And as Nick just said, because AMS was a big thing, and it kind of changed the temperature here because you guys gave them so many exceptions, and you gave them, now this new one wants to ask for 5 stories because you gave it to them. So it's like that was a big thing. And I just feel like that did not get enough attention. And I don't want that to happen again on this, because just a quick look from the top, it looks like it's the same story. And why wouldn't it be? It's like another type of development. And as far as development in general, making our taxes better, how well is that really working out for the down county state, places? And how well is that working out for our neighbors? I mean, Yorktown is developing up the wazoo. I don't think their taxes are going down. We were being managed so well. Our village taxes were only going up by 2%, 1%. They were small increases. And I don't understand what's the big push. So that's my position.
All right, Lisa, thank you. I hope there's some, yes. I just hope there's some lessons learned from the last project.
Hello, Tanya Drezick from Travis Avenue. The Griffin Building, that's what I'm going to call it, on Lens Cove, is 84 units larger than AMS. Do we really need another large building like that? I have over 300 signatures from residents that live here in Buchanan. I've collected them during the last few days during the heat and the rain, and that was against me, and also a vacation, the holiday was against me. And I think that you need to listen to your constituents. We're asking for you to hold off on this and see how AMS goes, not to keep making apartment after apartment building. It's just too much. It's too many people added to the village at one time. How come you didn't take lead agency on the Gallon Measure? So only large developers are given the third layer of protection that you speak of. So only when the board sees fit. In my opinion, the board should not be lead agency for any development in the village. The land that is attached to the water treatment plant is needed for future development. The developer should not be using the land only the land that Griffin has, not the village land, not doing this, oh, we'll do this for that. The developer said if the land is contaminated at Lents Cove, that the village is responsible. How much will that cost the taxpayers? We are here telling you we don't want this and we need you to hear us. Please slow down and listen to all of us. And I have signatures, I have pages and pages, okay?
All right, thank you.
You always say you want us to come and tell you, well, people are speaking and you have to listen.
All right, thank you.
John Cumming, Westchester Avenue. Again, two things I think at top of my mind, the financial aspect and the quality of life. Financial, $90 savings isn't moving the needle, but I don't think we're taking into account the other side of our taxes, which is the town tax, which will be going up. If we're adding roughly 30 or 40% more of our population, that will come with kids that go to school. Those kids are schools, that's not going to be in your village tax, that will be in your town tax. So if your left pocket's going down, but your right pocket's going to empty it faster, net loss. Also, quality of life. Over the last 5 years, the only thing more unpleasant about this village than COVID, which was not in any of our powers, was the whole Princeton plan rollout and re-rollout and re-rollout. The amount of vitriol and infighting that this split this town apart. I don't know if you guys have kids, how young they are, if you have grandkids in school. This was awful. We made it through. This last kind of iteration, everyone's kind of settled down on, and we made it work. This will reopen that conversation again. As you put this big chunk of population on one side of the town, one side of the school district, it absolutely is going to overload BV. And the other sides, now we're going to have to redistrict kids that are just, it's settled. Everyone's happy again. We're healing from this, and you're going to rip this wound back open. Again, I'm talking to all the parents of the younger kids and all this. And granted, baseball and soccer season have ended, so that's kind of harder. We feel betrayed by your action with AMS and all this stuff. Most of the people don't know who to point fingers at, who was for, who's in, but they know it was over here. And we know things were changed after it was rolled out, and we were oh, nobody showed up to tell us we didn't like it. Nobody likes it. They are holding you accountable, whether they know who you are or whatever. And if they find out there's another 40% increase, it's not going to be pretty. So again, quality of life is at our neighbors' throats over schools and kids. Kids were peeing themselves and falling asleep on the bus as they were busting the first rendition of Princeton plan. We overused the buses and had to replace buses and all this stuff. It was a nightmare, and it wasn't what we were sold. And so now this is going to happen. So do we need to get Hendrick Hudson parents that aren't Buchanan residents in here to let you know that they will not have that go through Princeton plan again? Last point, I think I voted for all of you or nearly all of you, but this vitriol in public, the lack of professionalism as you attack the mayor. And again, I know you all have something against each other. I don't care. Don't point at her. How unprofessional is that? This is not good. When we are going through a divisive moment and you guys are bickering and it's more about screwing the mayor than doing what's right for us is disgusting. It's disgusting. And I'm looking at you most of all.
I know I'm looking at you too, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Well, you are. You are.
No, I'm not.
Mainly to the mayor. And I do take offense to
just
that. I
saying
voted
it
for the
comes
mayor.
from
I
the
voted
top.
for
It comes from
all
the
of you.
top.
And the fact that you let the mayor get treated like this, whether you agree with or not, put it aside for our benefit. Thank you.
Okay, so,
You
oops.
work for us. You work for us. We don't work for you.
How's
You
everybody
work
doing
for
tonight?
us.
All right, but she's gonna let
I
that
think
go.
so far,
She's
so
right.
good.
That's not disrespectful.
Dave Altamir, 250 Blakely Avenue. So, one of my colleagues was up here a little while ago. I don't know if you guys know this, but The volunteer fire service in this country is going downhill. You guys approved a 5-story building. Like he said, we got no access to just about almost 3 sides and the throat or the courtyard, whatever you want to call it. We don't have access to the top floors of this. The top 3 floors are lightweight constructed buildings. If that sprinkler doesn't hold it, not to mention that it's 55 and over, I'm tired of dragging dead people out of burning buildings. We got buildings like this in the Bronx, and I can throw 200 firemen, New York City firemen, at it in 15 to 20 minutes, and they're not going to put it out. How do you expect that that's going to happen in the village of Buchanan, where sometimes during the daytime, and I've been a volunteer almost 30 years up here, I got 20 years on the job in New York City, I work in special operations. How do you expect that's going to happen up here? I mean, I don't know if anybody, and I know this from working, that, and I see a lot of things that people do on a regular basis because, we kind of live in Mayberry up here. We don't think about a lot of things. I see the dad pulling the cart with the kid behind him. Not even thinking I see that in Manhattan. That guy's his kid's getting run over. And it's stuff like that. And like Eric said, some of our worst fires in American history, the Weinkauf Hotel, the Windsor Hotel in New York City, the Pioneer in Arizona, 2 of those buildings labeled absolutely fireproof, killing hundreds of people, leveling buildings, We had a couple bad hotel fires in southern Westchester years ago. One at the Wright-Town Hilton. That was a good job with numerous fatalities. And you're putting the cart before the horse. And like Lisa said, we're talking about money savings. What do you guys think it's going to cost for a career fire department? Because that's what you're going towards. And I can promise you that's several millions of dollars. It's coming. A little bit of money for this building and a little bit here and there. It's pennies in the bucket. It's infinitesimal comparatively to when you're we have to hire a fire department. I just saw on the docket, we're losing 2 guys in Buchanan tonight. That's another 2 guys. Maybe it's unaffordable. Maybe they got a job somewhere else. Maybe they're I'm done with this area. But, we have to start thinking about what's smart, and putting 5-story buildings is not smart. We can't put that out during the daytime. We have a hard enough time with we lost a half a section of the building, Coachlight Square. We've had several fires at Springvale Apartments over the last few years, and we lost 6 fully involved apartments. They had that building under construction in Peekskill up on whatever it was. That was gone in 20 minutes. This is lightweight constructed buildings. They do tests now. They're putting. This is the craziest thing. The engineer has to, he's got to figure out how he's going to build his high-rise building around what the architect wants. There's nothing prescribed anymore. Building codes and that all used to be prescribed. Now it's subjective, and it's dangerous. The UL was doing a live fire study on a high-rise building for heavy timber high-rise, and they had to stop the test because it got too hot. Great results, but you guys you're headed in a dangerous direction. All the emergency services are going to go through the roof. I promise you that. And I hear well, let's see what happens. We have a pretty good indication of what's going to happen. And you can look south of here, like Lisa said, and you're going to find out real quick. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And the firemen know, I think there's a misconception with sprinklers. It's not there to put the fire out necessarily. It's there to give people just enough time to get out of a building.
Correct. And if I say one more thing, like Eric said, it's smoke that kills people.
Yeah.
The MGM Grand killed nearly 100 people. And the whole first floor was fully involved in 6 minutes.
Jody Chipolone, One Woods Court. I would just like to ask the board why they live here, why they chose to live in Buchanan.
Do you want me to start with me?
Sure.
I am a lifelong village resident, fourth generation. Sorry, I get emotional. I've lived on Henry Street my whole life. My mom was born in the house across the street. I have a cousin, fifth generation, sixth generation. We love it here. It's small town USA. It's quiet. And what I'm saying to you is what the new people moving in, they come into my store and I say, well, where are you from? Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn. And so why did you move here? That's always interesting to me. Why did you move here? I have a young family. This is a very nice place. It's like a hometown feel. Everyone is nice. There's not a lot of traffic. There's not large buildings. Like I said, I plan on staying here the rest of my life. They will cart me out one day, and hopefully not soon. And it's just a beautiful community. I don't know anywhere else that is like this. The Tri-Village is very much like that, and people that move in are very, very appreciative that they're here. And, after they tell me that, I say, welcome. You'll find there's many good people here. And it's a great community, not only to raise your children, your family, but also for our seniors to live here. It's very safe for them to live here. So that's what the fight is about. That was the fight that was always about to save the village when the closure of Indian Point. The board at the time was all in, and we were going to fight whatever we needed to do to save our community.
Okay.
So simply for me, I moved here, 1, I liked the house that I bought. 2, I knew that I could provide a service, and I have. From the moment I moved here in 2019, I became involved, and I've been involved ever since. I do not work for the village. I am a member of the board, and at the end of the day, what I do is in my best interest for what works for the village. Let's not forget I live here as well. And I would never make a decision that I felt would go against the peace of this community because I live here. I want peace. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking to be disrespectful either. But let's also be fair. We should not be disrespected. So why did I move here? Because I wanted to make a difference. And I feel that since I walked into the village, I have done that.
Okay.
I love the community. I've been involved in this community my entire life, and I am fighting for this village as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've been here forever. I moved
So
from
have I.
Verplank at 9 years old to Buchanan, raised my family here. I've worked here since 1988. I'm really excited to see so many people here. I was on the board the first time. I kept asking for it. Please come and show your concern. I've come to probably more meetings than anyone in this room. Maybe Teresa maybe beat me by a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yes.
Maybe. But since I've worked for the village and before that I was at meetings, I'd be the only guy in that chair. So I'm always looking out for the best of the village.
Okay.
Why am I here? I've always been here. Well, then I'll keep you guessing. How's that sound? Come on, seriously?
No,
Why are
no,
you
thank
here? Because you grew up here, just like I grew up here. I moved from Verplank to Montrose to Verplank to Buchanan. I mean, this is my home. This is my home. This is the
Okay.
Tri-Village area is where I've always been.
Okay.
I've done more for this community on my own time, at my own money and everything else than I can even put on a list for you. And it doesn't say a lot for a lot of other people, I can tell you that. But I try to build the community the best that I can. I took on this thankless job because I have 5 children that are still in school. 3 of them are still in school, and I'm trying to make it right for them. I'm also looking to retire in this village because I am a blue-collar worker, and I am just like everybody else who retired in this village, and I want to make it the best that I can. I have not approved anything that is going on in this room tonight. We have not approved anything. Everybody's assumption, because we have taken in this client, this is our due diligence, to hear what they have to say, to get their studies, and make a rational decision for your benefit as well as our benefit. That's why I'm here living in this village, and that's why I'm on this board, because I want to try and help. But it doesn't seem that it's helpful. Sometimes I question why I do it. So I question why we all do it. Like, you're here attacking us. We haven't even made a decision yet.
I'm not attacking anyone.
Oh, no.
I asked a question.
No, okay, you're not specifically attacking us, but there is many people in this audience that we listen to and we feel the same way that you do. But let us do our job. That's all we're asking you.
Exactly, and part of the job is to listen to the people. So
And when have we not listened?
I didn't know, honestly. There was not.
Were you at any AMS meetings?
I was at a few.
You were?
Yes, I was.
And what did you hear from, what do you remember from those meetings?
There wasn't a whole lot out there to hear.
18 months those meetings went on.
Okay,
18
we were
months.
also told that the hardware store was going to hide that building.
How can they hide a 5-story building, or
Ask
4.5-story
Danny
building?
Ask Danny Stewart. That's what he told us.
You ask him.
No, that's
It's
what
too
I
late
heard
now.
too. Yeah.
It's my point is, you're living in a village. We don't want to make it a city.
Why not?
Okay.
Why? Just give me a reason why you don't want to make it. What is the reason?
Why don't? Because I want to feel safe.
Safe
I
against,
want
against what?
people. I want people to be able to know who.
Do you
their
feel
neighbors
unsafe
are.
now?
I'm sorry.
Do you feel unsafe now with AMS developed?
Nobody's there. Who's there?
It's 50. It's 50% occupied at this point.
Okay. Anthony, I'm not here to argue with you. I am not here to argue with you.
I'm not here to argue with you either. I
asked
just
you
want
a
to be able to
legitimate
do my job.
question. And you can do your job, and part of your job is listening to the people. So if the whole village came in and said they don't want another development, you would say, okay, we're not going to develop. But if you want it, you're going to do it.
How do you know?
I'm asking you.
That's when I'm done with all this research and studies, I will make a very educated decision.
Okay.
And that's what my job is.
Okay. And nobody on the board benefits from that.
Nobody's influencing me on my decision. I can tell you that right now. Nobody.
Wait,
But I saw videos of JCAP trucks that were over there paving. You had nothing to do with that. When I looked that up, that was your address.
Absolutely. That is my company.
So you didn't benefit from that.
We
at
work
all.
for the New York State DOT, my company, okay? New York State DOT hired us. And you have some nerve bringing that up.
To question that?
To question that, because that is
Why?
I pleasure you to go find all the information you want.
I looked at a
Because
video
your
that
friend
was,
back there videoed me, which was great. She
that's
was great.
public knowledge.
It absolutely is. And I love that you brought that up. I thought it would come out a long time ago, but thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
My company is hired by New York State DOT, not my company, not mine. It's called PCI Industries. It was hired by the DOT. They have the contract to do such developments like that.
Okay.
If
It
you
just
want to do
happened
your
be
research,
here. Just
it's
happened to be here
everywhere
that
in
you're on the-
Westchester County. It's everywhere that
Right,
there's
and
a
when you're on the
development.
board.
What am I
You happen
supposed
to
to
get
do?
that
Quit because I'm on the board?
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
It's not a
Conflict of
conflict of interest.
Yes, it
It's
is.
my life, and that's why I
She
just
has
said
an
I
ice cream
question
shop.
why I'm involved. Like you're questioning my means to pay to support my family because I was hired to do a job. My company wasn't hired to do the job.
Okay.
Okay, get your facts straight.
Yeah.
And and you don't want to have an argument, but you want to come up here with that nonsense.
No, I'm not here to argue with you.
But you don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, Anthony.
It's
'Cause you know
absolute-
all, right?
I don't know all. I don't know, but I know
But
that
you
I was
argue
hired.
with everybody who stands up here. You do.
Well, somebody as dumb as you, absolutely.
Whoa. We do not talk to our
Whoa.
residents like that.
You should
Absolutely
be
not.
removed.
I don't care what you
You
think.
should be removed.
Well, why?
Jody, well, I just want to say to you, Jody, that I don't benefit.
Throw them out. Throw them out.
Now, we don't benefit by making a decision for development.
Nope.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Okay, all righty.
I will say it again.
No.
Wow. I don't even care because I am getting questioned and annihilated for something that is so ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm entitled to ask a question.
No, you're just up here to blame me for doing something.
I'm not blaming you for
Oh, come on, that's so stupid.
Okay, who's our next person?
So stupid.
Is there someone else that would like to speak? No? Yes? No? Sir, would you like to say anything before we move on?
James Ferguson, First Street. How you doing? Tonight, this is embarrassing, to say the least. And I'm a volunteer and a retired career firefighter. That would have been out the door.
All right, then I'll
right
go.
there.
I'll go.
Out the door. Unacceptable.
Clap on your way out, and you. Thank you, sir.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your services, but that was uncalled for. Everything you have done tonight is uncalled for. Here is what you're here for, right? The job of the village board is what? You're supposed to handle the budget, correct? Planning board is what? They're supposed to handle the structures and stuff like that. The growth of the village. The growth of the village, he just was in error. He said 50% of the people are in the AMS building, which is incorrect for the fire department, just so you know. So that's incorrect. There's nobody there. I drive by there all the time. There's nobody there. So the impact is not there yet, okay? When the impact comes, it's gonna be bad. Right now, EMS is just, there's nobody. It's Cortland Ambulance supplemented by volunteers. It's a career staff that are handling the calls during the day, with the exception of a few volunteers, which I give them a lot of credit because another agency that was probably, I'm gonna say it, mismanaged. It's pretty obvious. I'm from this area, grew up in Croton. I live in Buchanan. I'm an EMT. I don't even want to get into that. It was your decision to get rid of the Buchanan Fire Department on EMS calls. Absolutely, I have nothing good to say about that. I just performed CPR on somebody's Center Street because EMS couldn't get there. I was called by a family member that their family member was wondering why nobody was there except for a police officer. Do you want that happen to your house, Mr. Laker?
I think you had the facts incorrect regarding the ambulance response and
Oh, do
the
you
county
really?
fire.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a little history of me. I used to be a volunteer at Cortland Ambulance. Okay?
I understand.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
Go ahead.
I was an EMT and officer with the Croton EMS. I've been 3-time captain out of the Croton Fire Department, which does probably 20% more calls than the village of Buchanan. They cannot handle it. Just said it. It's in your motions tonight. You're losing 2 members. Volunteer fire service, as Mr. Altamura said, it's going down. And with this, there's no fiscal responsibility here. 0. The $90 you say, which thank you for doing the math, that's great. Come on, you're gonna have to add DPW. You're gonna have to hire more paid staff because one staff, 2 members is not handling it when they're doing 5 calls at a time. Not happening. We can't rely on mutual aid because you got Peekskill. They do 5,000 calls a year. You got Verplank. Numbers are going down. You got Croton EMS. Numbers are going up, and they are now 24-hour paid staff, supplemented by volunteers. Notice how I'm saying supplemented? Eventually, like Mr. Altamura said, we're both from the Croton Fire Department, live in the village Buchanan. Very fortunate to live in this beautiful village. I married into the village. It was great. It's going downhill. I feel sorry for the police officers here. They get anything other than a report, they have to call for backup and potentially wait 10 to 15 minutes. Because their backup is what? New York State, overwhelmed. County police, overwhelmed. City of Peekskill, overwhelmed. Do you see a problem? But we want to just keep building? No problem with the Blakely and Albany Post Road. It is what it is. Once I looked at the facts and everything, that's very minor. But 227 units? I think you're crazy. Even entertaining the idea. I tell them, nothing against you guys, because I understand you run a business. I tell them where the door is. This is the village of Buchanan. What's the population here?
The census in 2020 was 2,300.
2,300
But we know, a lot of people didn't open their door. We know it's much more.
100%. We have that in all the villages. I also work in the village Croton as fire inspector. So as you can see, I see a lot of these things going on. And what is happening? I'm going to harp on emergency services. You call, you want us to come, right? That may not happen because we are being overwhelmed. CVAC alone is just, you're talking 3,000 plus calls a year. CPR, stroke, whatever it may be. Time is of an essence. Can't be waiting 15, 20 minutes for an ambulance, all right? You can't be allowing the police officer, the only police officer on duty, to do CPR for 20 minutes sweating when it's 100 degrees as we were pushing on somebody's chest. You think that's right? No, right. I served on the police reform committee with Awilda, and we discussed a lot of things, and some of these things we brought up. Services, when was that? How many years ago was that?
That was in 20?
2020. So it was around COVID. It's 6 years now. We have expanded. There's more people. There's obviously more people. It takes me 18 minutes to get home now from the village of Croton. It never did. So do you see it? And we don't even have the people in the buildings yet. Once you put the building AMS is occupied and this monstrosity that you want to put over here, well, what are we going to do? Taxes are going to go up because infrastructure is going to fail. Services, you're going to have to hire people. Volunteerism, EMS isn't going to be able to do it. I'm sorry, but they're not going to. Buchanan Fire Department, very small fire department. Wheels is in it. He knows. He'll tell you. This AMS building, hey, it's a beautiful building. I give you that. 5-story doesn't belong here. We do not have the resources. Even with, you heard it from Eric Warner and Dave Altamura. They're from very busy companies in Manhattan and the Bronx. Live in this community, see what's there. I'm a member of Croton, and I'm on 90% of the fires, if not 95% of the fires in the village of Buchanan because they need help. All right? We just had how many fatal fires? Residential, not even 5-story, right in our area. Tarrytown, Mohegan, I can go on and on. Do you see a trend? Buildings are burning quicker. The smoke is more putrid. As you can see, fires used to be 17 minutes. Now, 5 minutes, if you're not out, there's going to be bad circumstances. It's unfortunate, and like daytime everywhere. I'm a volley down in Croton, same difference. Getting 5 or 6 people out. We had a fire recently. We had 6 people, 2 stories of fire. We are very lucky that we had 6 aggressive interior firefighters. May not have that here. Everybody here works. It's a working community. We rely, this is sad to say because when I joined 35 years ago, we never had to rely on other departments. Every department in this area now has to rely. Lindsay Avenue, remember that fire? I was working that day on the first new engine coming in. We had heavy fire on the 2nd floor. We had nobody. Volunteers weren't coming. The VA was first due on a fire in the village of Buchanan. And we weren't dispatched until it was confirmed working fire. So where's your, not knocking them at all. They do a great job. The numbers are not there to protect our own community that we live in. And I don't want to see our community fail. And having this up there and what he was saying to our residents, that shouldn't be tolerated, okay? And then the way you all bicker up there, nonsense, okay? Put your personal opinions to the side, leave it at the door like we do, because I wouldn't have much to say about you. I would not vote for anybody on this board right now. Nothing. You have done nothing good for this community, okay? Nothing. Wheels has because he's been a volunteer in Buchanan. I know we did. But the village board, you should go home tonight, take all the comments that we have said, really come to Jesus, basically, okay? Because you're terrible, okay? I'm going to say it plain out. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. The way you have acted, and I've watched meetings. I never wanted to come here because I really don't want to speak. I just want to take things in, this and that. But there's time. Our community has come forward. We have 300 signatures. 300 signatures. Tanya approached me and my wife the other day. Wasn't even a question. Where do I sign? So this come on. You really got to, I honestly think, like Lisa said, it's time to take a breath, let the AMS building fill out, because what his comment was BS, as we know. I talked to Chief Outhouse via text. There's nobody in the building right now. So that was false information when he's talking about false information. And honestly, that's a conflict of interest, having his company and him in the middle of the road when he's on the board. How is that not a conflict of interest? I don't care if the New York State DOT, He's got a code of ethics, am I correct? As a village board meeting, a member, correct? He signed for a code of ethics?
No.
That's an ethic violation right there. He should have abstained from that contract and gave this to somebody else. Or, if he wants to use his company, he needs to step aside. I understand we all have to put food on the table for our children. It's gonna get harder with all this building here, I can tell you that. Town of Cortland taxes going up, school district taxes going up, and then the $90 that Lisa brought up, that's out the door. You're gonna be paying double just to get the services that we used to be able to provide. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. The village is changing quickly, and we have to Yeah. Oh, I know. Yes. I agree. We need to really relook at our services again. I did hear about what happened on Center Street. I lived that going back 40 years ago, and we had to wait for Peekskill ambulance to come in. So I know, and I don't want anyone to have to ever live that ever again. So we kind of have to relook at some of our services and different things. But thank you for your comments. Yes, sir. Mr. Sal, you're coming back for
Sal
more?
Tavano again, very briefly, 167 Lindsay Avenue.
Sorry.
I just want to say that it's evident that the people of Buchanan want things slowed down. They don't want this large-scale development at this time. And I think that's what has to be honored. All of the elected and appointed public officials in this village have a fiduciary responsibility to honor the general will of its citizens. And that has to be done first and foremost. I'm hearing things about, wanting to serve the community and using my best independent judgment to evaluate what's good for the village, and mentioning something like a code that says who should do what. But what the people want is to make common sense common practice. And if you need to rewrite some kind of a rule, you rewrite it, but you do the right thing and do what the people want. I'll tell you a quick story. Many years ago, I was in a parking lot in a nearby store, and the mayor of Buchanan at that time was having a heated discussion with one of the residents. And the mayor was pointing his finger at the person and saying, "You listen to me." He goes, "The people of Buchanan voted me in to do as I see fit." And if I didn't have an urgent appointment, I would have jumped out of the car, got right in front of him saying, "No, you're absolutely wrong. The people of Buchanan voted you in to do as they see fit." And that is the ultimate reason why that public servants in this village on all the boards, elected or appointed, are bound and obligated to do what the people want. Thank you.
Thank you, Sal. And just as a clarification, that mayor was not me. So, thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Name is Carl Locatelli. I live at 186 Center Street. I just want to embellish what Mr. Ferguson said. That was my mother-in-law on Center Street. I and my daughter performed CPR, which seemed endless, but I know it was at least 20 minutes until we had assistance. I think the board should review about getting the EMSs out of the fire department back into the realm of assisting by issuing that agency code number.
You're absolutely right.
Okay? I mean, that's a tragedy.
Yes.
Because it could have been 10 minutes, 5 minutes response instead of 20 or so more minutes because they came from Lexington Avenue, which is totally ridiculous. All right? So I think things like this, the board should really concentrate on more than developing, all right? Because there's a lot of good issues that were brought up. And I wish I had the knowledge that these people did. all right? And that's why I'm coming to these meetings, because I think the board is a little out of adjustment right now. And I think you got to cut it out. This ain't big politics. This is small community. Well, that's all I can say. But you need to wake up, people. The world is going in turmoil right now. So we don't need to get involved in that turmoil on a small board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carl. So once again, the board will review our services probably at the next workshop. Point taken. Yes, sir.
Just
Oh, it's,
one more
you
fact.
again. Okay.
Alrighty. I have a question for you guys. May not be on the agenda tonight, but it's going to be on the agenda, and we're going to make sure it's on the agenda in the future. Why was the Buchanan Fire Department that has 12 EMTs taken off first response? Whose decision was that? And tell the community here why you took a vital aspect of the chain of first response away.
I can speak to that somewhat because I was trying to get us back on board with this, with the agency code number back a few years ago. And you probably know better than I know how that works. We have to have CVAC actually sign off saying we're able to get the agency code number.
So I'm going to put this out there.
And we spoke with our attorney, and because
Okay.
we don't have that, we should not be responding to calls, even though we have trained EMTs.
Totally understandable. But you're now taking the account from an agency that probably has less EMTs,
Oh, yeah, well.
with the exception of career staff.
Oh, you're absolutely right, but they are, I forget what their term is, that they are, whatever they are in the.
They
area.
are, yeah.
You would know better than I do, but.
Totally
we-
100%,
we
but-
just can't, we just can't go there and say we're gonna do it. We have to have them give us the blessing, so to speak, that we can respond. It's beyond.
I don't
my-
know if that's 100% correct. Fire Department, Westchester County, I'm a member of Croton. We have Croton EMS, which is Croton volunteer, and we have career staff.
Right.
We had to sign an agreement. The county puts it out, hey, would you like to go on EMS calls? And whether it's an echo level response, which is a cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest, or everything.
Right.
So we used to do all EMS. So we got off of that because Croton EMS is now doing 1,200 calls a year.
Right.
We're a fire department. When I was captain in 2006, we did just under 400 calls. We are now probably approaching 550, 600 fire calls a year, not including EMS. You think the numbers around here are going lower? No, they're going higher. So why wouldn't you want a vital part of that?
Oh, believe me, I want it.
I get
I've
it.
been
It's a
fighting for it.
personal
I've been
vindictive
fighting
thing,
for 3
and we
years.
all know it. Okay?
Yeah,
It's
something that
pretty
Wheels-
obvious in the
Wheels, you and I
community.
have been for that.
I've been fighting for this
For
for 3
years.
years. Once we were told by certain entities that we were, I don't want to use the word, we're responding illegally.
Okay.
But we weren't able to.
You're not responding illegally, especially when you have EMTs,
Oh,
12 EMTs that can provide care when that
I'm only telling you,
agency.
we were going by.
Totally understand. I'll do my
We were going by what
research.
our attorney told us also, but we were also told we had to have CVAC and the
Correct.
village board sign off on it.
See, we're a fire department agency that responds on first response in Croton. We do not have an agency code. So I will look into the research and I will bring it to you guys
That'd be great.
because I honestly, that was disturbing. I responded from Croton to that call on Center Street, Croton, because my sister called because the granddaughter was there saying nobody was coming. That's a problem, okay? Croton. I have no license sirens. I was in a POV going in traffic, and I got there and I had to assist Officer Buddy, who was pouring sweat, fatigued, doing CPR on somebody. Unacceptable, all righty? Again, we have to be here. We have to really look at the big picture. And these buildings, lovely buildings. I'm sure they're lovely buildings, just not in the village of Buchanan. Not in the village of Croton. Not here, not there. City of Peekskill's infrastructure, you see it. Just last night, they had a garage fire. First hydrant, you couldn't even operate it. Been on fires in Main Street in Peekskill. We used to, with my job, we used to go to Peekskill on a weekly basis for structure fires. Their infrastructure, their growth has outgrown their infrastructure. Do you want that to happen in the village of Buchanan?
Well,
I get a fire in my house, I want to make sure there's water coming out of the hydrant. Because otherwise,
I know we have our highway department test the fire hydrants.
no, I totally,
pressure.
but
Yeah.
as soon as you add, it's going to be
Oh,
more.
sure, yeah, it's gonna
You got
take
the
away.
AMS building, you got this.
Right.
And then the AMS building, say you do have a fire, you're going to have fire department engines hitting what we call fire department connections. That's now going to draw from there. You're going to have to hit different hydrants because it won't overcompensate the main on Albany Post Road. which I know Buchanan Fire Department hasn't done their due diligence, but you need to do your due diligence. We can't continue to grow. I'm pro, building, but not these large structures. The one on Blakely and Albany Post Road, have at it. That's gonna, pose into traffic issues there, of course, but it's not 227 units. Alrighty, but that's it.
Well,
And
thank
I'll do
you.
my
Well,
research.
thank you. If there's anything,
Thank
any
you.
light you can shine on.
Most
this for us,
definitely, I
I'm
will
more
shoot
than willing to
it.
hear
I know there's a personal conflict there. Everybody knows there's a anybody in emergency services knows there's a personal conflict there.
Right.
So
What's-
we'll get over that personal conflict.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to ask you something. but go
Yeah,
ahead.
no problem. But we'll get over that personal conflict.
Right.
I'll do my research.
Could you come back at the next workshop?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Just wonder, what is the personal conflict? It's just for my learning.
It's a lot of hearsay.
We'll keep it personal.
We'll keep it personal. How about that? And then you guys can look into it because it's something that I truly feel that you may want to look into, and what the main reason why they're not getting signed off on a partial part of responses.
So that's what I want to know. So you're just telling me to speak to Bob after the meeting, is that it?
I probably think it's further than that. You should.
that?
Yeah.
I just want to know what the personal conflict is for my own learning.
There's 3 different agencies that are being dealt with here between the fire department, CVAC, and the board. And there's just been some personality clashes, I believe, that's been going on here. And I've been talking to Steve about this for quite a while now. And we're trying to work this getting out and
No,
keeping the personalities out of it.
Awesome.
But I also like to thank you, but while I'm talking, I'd just like
Sure.
to say something. I have to defend myself a little bit here.
No problem.
Everyone's saying that this whole board's disrespecting people. I'm the one that asked for volumes of people here since I've been on the board the first time. And I've never disrespected anybody, no one on the board. I keep my personal differences amongst each other to myself,
Agreed.
and I can deal with them. It's on them how they behave. One of the reasons I ran, a lot of people asked me to run, was because of the way this board operates
Yeah.
sometimes. And the last 2 meetings, I had made comments at the meetings about the way we act.
Okay.
So
Well,
just
I
want-
apologize for
No,
pointing you
I
out.
understand. It comes with the job. I understand that.
But the
I
first
can take
5
it.
minutes of this board meeting, we knew how it was going to go because
Right,
there
right,
was
right.
constantly bicker. And then
that's-
your mic was open. We could hear what you were saying.
I wasn't-
His mic was open.
Whatever
There's
it
no
may be,
need.
we have to stop what we're doing even now.
Exactly. You got to put the village,
And I just
you have a
want
job to
people
do,
know that
right? You were
I-
elected,
I've
do
talked
your
to a lot of
job,
people out here
okay?
on the floors. I'm walking at times. I listen to people. They know how I feel.
At the
Whether we agree or not, and I agree. I listen to them. So I'm
Exactly.
always here. My phone number's around. People know where I live. I walk my dog around the street, stop and talk.
I always see you. Yep, Byron.
And people come in my store and tell me a lot of stuff. So I think we can do better. And I
Most
think we
definitely.
have to work harder
Like I said
to work
in the
together.
first
It's
time I
hard.
got up.
Yeah.
Keep it
Yeah.
at the door.
Yeah,
If you want
of
to beat
course.
the heck out of each other afterwards, go for it. We
Then
don't-
we'll have to call the ambulance.
Well, they're not coming. But, but honestly, you just have to, like I said, this is the first board meeting I've been at, and I've been at board meetings in the Village of Croton and other villages in town of Cortland, and the first 5 minutes, it was embarrassing. And I even got text messages while I'm here, how embarrassing it was. And that was within the first 5 minutes. Okay?
May I say something? So, and I'll speak for myself, the intention for me is never to be rude.
Okay.
But sometimes we're baited, and I'm going to leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we also get pushback from the audience, which I don't feel
Which
is
I don't
necessary.
think you really got pushback. These
Yeah,
are
no.
valid comments
No,
tonight.
not that at all. It's the tone.
Okay.
And that's not necessary either. Goes both ways. But, hear it? I'm the one sitting here, so I understand. You want difference here.
We need change. We definitely need change.
And that's fine. But please give us a minute because I don't.
I gave you 5 minutes,
all
and
this
it was
push-
embarrassing
thank
for
you.
the first 5 minutes.
No.
So you had your minute.
All this you see, all this pushback, and I know I haven't made a decision. I just wanted to get information, and for wanting to get information, I'm receiving this type.
I just
of
hope you take
meeting.
all the account from.
Of course I am. Of
Thank
course
you.
I am.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. And then after Lisa, I think we're gonna.
No, there's someone in
Oh,
the
we have a
back.
hand up too? Oh, my goodness, okay. All right.
Hi, Lisa Wenz, 206 Tate Avenue. With all this need for funding, why are we not looking to petition our legislators and our state senators? There are different bills out there that are supporting communities that have Indian Point or their version of Indian Point being closed. There's one in the Senate, and there's one, as the mayor often talks about, by Mike Lawler. But there's another one that's in the Senate that's from Vermont. So why aren't we petitioning our legislators and our congressmen and our senators to help support?
Are you talking about, well, it's not the Stranded Act now, are you speaking about that Mike Laudler's?
That and the other that is in the Senate.
Yeah, you did mention that. I will be working with the school, with Mike Lawler's, as a matter of fact, this month. That's going to start, because I think there's a lot more strength with a group together instead of just a municipality and municipalities throughout. So
But
involving the school
shouldn't we all
districts.
be writing letters, and shouldn't we be all?
When we get to that point, when we're closer, which should be another month, then I think what we need to do is, like we did with the other legislation that was passed, the law that was passed, I think it was change.org. We got over 10,000 signatures. Couple hundred, 500 signatures, they look at it. But if you get 10,000, you've got their attention. So it's going to be the focus, is the change.org, and
For which legislation?
for Congressman Lawler's. The other one, we could work on it at the same time, also at the same time.
They're in two different parts
Right.
of our government, so I think
Yeah.
they both should be worked on to get something.
And with the Congress, they're the one with the money. So that's why, that's where it started there, and then it's got to get approved in the Senate. So the Congress is, there's different options with that also. There was, what was it, $15 million fund that Nita Lowy set up. Maybe we can take it out of that fund. I'm not sure, because that money was, it doesn't benefit us because we had to create jobs. So that's not going to benefit us. So we're looking for relief from having the storage there. But I got as a matter of fact, today I got a lot more information. There's another, not in Vermont, somewhere else, that they're trying to move something. So if we could all work together, strength in numbers, I think, and it's not going to be easy. Going through the federal government is not always
No, it's not,
challenging, but we got to do
It's
it.
something we can do rather than argue about $90 a month.
Okay.
Or $90 a year of our taxes.
That's a fair statement, yes. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, okay, because then we got to get to the first thing on the agenda. We appreciate
We have
all the
residents that
comments
haven't
that we're listening to what, the residents want, and it's important.
Well, I don't think just the comments, it's solid information from trained professionals. And I'm not going to beat the first responder thing. My colleagues already did that for me. And I think they proved to, hopefully you will then, Mr. Cavalcante, that there's a serious problem. These are trained up guys. I worked with all these guys, and we're all college educated guys.
I'm not
You
sure.
challenged
Come
me.
here.
You challenged me to prove there's a problem.
When did I challenge you to?
The last meeting was on videotape, and there's people in the room
No,
that
no,
saw
no,
it.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you to refresh my memory.
Oh, it was the last thing when I told you
Okay.
guys your services couldn't handle it, and you said, "How do you know?"
Okay.
I just proved my point with two professional guys who worked in that field
And
as long
that's-
as I did, if not longer, and are well trained up.
And they provided an opinion that I respect.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, I want to press on. I think you guys need information about Let's Cove itself and the environmental impacts. So what I did was for you folks, I know how much you like my paperwork. It's called an E. I did make enough for everybody. I do apologize. You guys can split that. That's for you. That's for you.
Oh, the EAF?
Who made this assessment?
You do.
Oh, he made the, you made the assessment, sir?
No, this actually comes from the DEP, DEC website. It's an EAF mapper. You put in the codes of where they're looking, and it pops up any negative things. So that area already has wetland impacts, flood zone, and no contaminants. So does your water treatment plant. This is not ChatGPT, as I was told before. The last page is Civil War history of that area. Now, during my time of getting signatures with Tanya, which I got 75 of them myself, and there was a bunch of them on there that voted for the Bring the Village Forward people are on these lists. You can check their names. And they don't want this big building. I also met an individual, I don't remember his name, Mr. Wheeler may be able to help me with this. He's an old employee of the town, retired about 4 or 5 years ago, one of your supervisors, lived up the street from you. I do not recall his name, it's on the list, he signed it. He had stated that area of Lens Cove is contaminated. He's dug it himself and pulled up stuff. Civil War would use a lot of lead bullets. Doesn't take a lot of lead to contaminate areas. So before you go forward, I just gave you legit information from a DC DEP website, not made up. I can't put anything else in but a couple numbers. You could do it yourself. So you have the opportunity to tell these gentlemen no tonight. You don't have to say, yeah, okay, we're going to wait till your information comes. You already know there's a problem. So why fall into that problem that can cost us millions of dollars? You don't know what other stuff was back there in the 1960s. Who was monitoring Con Ed? I was told by village residents who grew up here, they used to go down there and shoot guns, dump dirt bikes, dump asphalt down there. There's everything under the sun down there. You're looking at $1.5 million plus, if not possibly made a Superfund site, which guess what that does? Zero. So I will say to you guys, you really should probably say no to this one. And if they want that bad, make them go do a phase 1, phase 2 EPA clearance before you say, we want more information. Once you get into this thing, you don't know if you can get out of it. You're asking an engineer legal questions where your lawyer could not fully answer it 110%. You shouldn't even translate it to legitimately have a lawyer. And if you're going to hire outside agencies, those people should have to sign a document clearly stating they've never been involved with anybody in this village or attached them or met them at any time. Because it seems like every time Marcus brings somebody, it's somebody he knows. And it's fine. I know how else works. It works through connections.
Yeah,
But yeah, exactly.
Listening.
But somebody should have to sign a piece of paper. You should go to outside agencies, NYPD, Jersey, Connecticut. Bring in people outside the area who never worked with anybody on this board or with the city manager at all. And they should have to sign off on it. So there's no conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And I just wanted to mention, not to correct you or anything, it was the Revolutionary War. That's okay. And I have been trying to get Kurt Moldoff, who's a historian in the area. He wanted to do a presentation on Lens Cove, so maybe we'll see when he can do that. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Robert Lepeka, 169 Cortland. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Wilda, Steve, Teresa, Bob, Cindy, Stephanie. So I'm
Hello, Bob
back again
Lepeka.
to talk about the taxes.
Okay.
We had a 1% increase this year, right? That was great. Was that because we got money from AMS that offset the taxes?
Some.
Good, okay. So, I mean, Lisa, you did a great job in presenting. The firemen here, safety should always be paramount. Listening to them, it makes it sound like we should start kicking people out of the village and not do any development, which can't happen. But then the other thing is, if we pointed out that our EMS is so far behind, how come we haven't done anything years ago to offset that? And we shouldn't have Rob Buddy out doing what he does. He saved one little child's life. So we should really focus on that. And, talking about the taxes, everybody in this room is complaining about building. How much do you guys want to spend in your taxes? How much more do you want to pay? How much more does everybody want to pay here? You want to pay 2? You want to pay 3? 4,000? No.
Okay.
So
Bob,
you're missing the
Bob,
point.
Bob.
You're missing the point
Yeah,
on
okay,
the
face-
building.
yeah.
Is we're changing our demographics. Once you start changing your demographics, you'll get other companies that want to come here for businesses, and we can grow in nature. Now, there's plenty of places. Reggie Selleck wanted to redo his building.
Okay,
So,
okay, everyone.
We got two
Let him
levers
speak.
here. It's either we develop or we keep on raising taxes. Unless we're in New York City and Mondavi to go into the governor and asking for $12 billion, which I don't think we're going to get anything out of her. But there's two levers. It's either we raise taxes or we develop. There it is. And so we talk about the $300,000, but they're also paying to our school tax. Now, I'm a lifelong resident here, born here, live here, and bought a house here. There's not many of us in this community that have lived here and bought a house. There's a few, Bob, right? Not many. We're getting outsiders, and we don't like outsiders. Typically, people didn't want outsiders. The Pointers never wanted outsiders. So we come to a point where, are we willing to spend more money? What?
Define outsider.
Anybody outside of this area?
Like me.
Listen,
Queens 35.
yes, I'm telling you. But the Pointers don't like anybody outsider. We all grew up with
Oh, the
that.
point's changed.
Yes, the point's changing.
The
The
area's
point is changing, the area's changing. So we're getting outsiders. But we gotta go back to, what do we do? Is it raise taxes, or do we start building? And we gotta have smart building, smart growth. And now we talk about, last time I was here, I went to my buddy's, my wife showed me a post from my buddy's wife, Amy, and she says, this is horrible, all this traffic. So I went and had a conversation with her. You know what I find out? It was the VA traffic. And you know what her problem was? She's driving her kid to school. I go, Amy, let your kid get on the bus. They have buses. Now you look at BV here. My wife works there. She says there's 40 to 60 cars come to pick up kids and drop kids off every day. So when we talk about traffic, let's stop the helicopters and let them get on the bus. Now, we also talk about the traffic study for AMS, right? 143 units. Everybody here knows where Coach Light is. There's 210 units there. And there's a lot more people who live in Coach Light that are ever going to live in the AMS building. How much traffic do we see? How much traffic do we see at Coach Light?
Let them talk.
One car, maybe 2 cars? 200 and something units, a lot more units, a lot more people. And what traffic do we see?
We don't have.
Now, there was a lot of opposition last time for the AMS. There's some valid opposition here, but the last opposition was, I can see the building. The 3rd and 4th floor I can see. What building in this county do you hide? Nothing. The other one was, I don't know if it's a co-op or condo, but what are we doing here? She should have just said, you know what? I was told to come here and just vote no on whatever you had. I mean, she didn't even have her facts here. At least some people here have their facts, and it's valid facts. But we got to look at it. Is it developed, or is it more taxes? My village tax right now is $4,100. When I first bought, I was less than 400.
Wow.
Less than 400. And then also, Lisa, going back to taxes, Teresa raised taxes 39% one year. Poor Dan raised them 100%.
Did you mention
The
to
whole board, the
them
whole board.
that was
Yes.
when Indian Point
Yeah, no doubt about it.
closed? Please,
But that's the problem.
thank you.
But Dan
Yes.
had to raise them 100% because we
That's
had
right.
0% taxes for so long. We let everybody who lived here go tax-free until we had to raise taxes, and then Dan couldn't run again. Well, 0 tax increases. That's tax-free.
You know,
We should have 1 or 2%
I'm going to get to you in a
increase.
minute.
It's less.
Maybe, excuse me,
Okay.
Maybe you guys can have a debate after the meeting
Yeah,
outside.
or we can have it another time.
Bobby, let's focus on us. Have your
I'm
debates
saying to you,
outside.
if we're going to allow builders to build, have them put up the money to build our infrastructure, redo our sewer plant. Now, all of a sudden, talking about Lents Cove, when I was a kid at Lents Cove, it was a dump. We used to go down there and take wood to build a fort and kill the rats. So yes, there's a lot of problems down there. And Carbone Building, that was built on wetlands. Catherine Street, the 6 houses there were built on wetlands. We used to ice skate there. So when we talk about wetlands, are we really following the code? Is it, sometimes it's necessary to build. It benefits the community. And our school taxes, we are the catalyst because the town of Cortland's doing nothing to help with the school taxes. That supervisor doesn't understand. He controls the development, which will offset our tax base. If not, the school has to tell us what they need and we have to pay it. Now, granted, they should be cutting back on a couple of things, but we're not coming up with $25 million. It's the town of Cortland that needs to help develop to offset that tax. And when does it stop?
I think what I'm hearing from the people, I think it's a cumulative situation at this point because we have developed. So if this project goes through, it's 443 units. And my biggest disappointment is the school. When the school has their vote, the tiny amount of people that come out to vote, that's 80% of your tax is a school tax.
Yes.
And the tiny amount of people, so was that okay, like for people to pay 6% more on their school taxes? I don't understand why nobody comes out and votes on that.
I realize that, but they need what they need to have a profitable and
Oh, no, I
functioning school.
understand that, but, then you have people complaining about taxes, but then they're not coming out to vote.
But we need to offset those taxes by development. And Town of Cortland and us weren't prepared for the Golden Goose. We didn't have no plan for that. And the town of Cortland has no plan. And they still have no plan. And our biggest taxes is that school. So at least AMS is going to pay for some of that school. And yes, they should be. They're not
So-
paying. AMS is not paying.
So Bob, I want to tell you something here.
All businesses phase.
Okay, let Bob talk. So there was a form that was done up, and including the cessation mitigation for the Village of Buchanan and the pilot. So in our tax year, Village, 2026 to 2027, it was estimated at 2.91%. Next year, we have 1.6 pilot, plus we have the cessation mitigation. You're looking at another 2.91%. The big drop-off was going to be in 28, 29, because we were losing the mitigation fund. But we don't know just yet what's going to happen with the governor, if she will sign that. The board has sent up a letter to tell the governor that it's really important for us to have the cessation fund extended in another 5 years. But one thing, so you know, the AMS building will be full tax roll this coming year. So they'll be on the taxes for next year. The Carbone property is not even on the tax roll yet because they're not done. They're not done. And then we have another in the loop, 11 townhouses. We're assuming those will get done. It's in the process. So there is revenue that will be coming from all these other things. And we'll have probably a better picture after AMS goes on the tax rolls, totally, completely.
That's good. I'm just saying we need to, No? Well, then, Cindy, get some names, because these people want to pay more money in their taxes. That's.
Can we
What do we want? Oh, there's somebody that's on, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on.
There's somebody on Zoom.
Reed, can you hear us? You can speak.
Hi, is it working?
Yep, we
Yes.
hear you loud and clear.
All right, you hear me now. I'll keep it brief because this is a long one. Reed Outhouse, Westchester Avenue. The first observation watching this meeting is I don't trust this board to make any decisions right now regarding any major development like this in the village. You guys are a mess. You have a lot of work to do behind the scenes and a lot of looking in the mirror. And you guys have to get your act together. And I'm not speaking about all board members. I think the residents, it's pretty obvious where the issues are. The second thing is part of being a politician, part of being an elected official is taking heat from the public in times like these. Okay. You got to have a little bit of a thick skin. That's what it's all about. There are current political figures now all the way at the top that can't take criticism, that just can't do it. That's what the job entails. And if you're going to walk out of a room because somebody's criticizing you, that job is not for you. Okay. So some people, I think we know who I'm talking about, have a little bit of soul searching to do and decide whether or not this is the job for them or not. It's ridiculous. The second thing is, Nick, I haven't spoken to Nick in a very long time. He took the words right out of my mouth, and I have spoken to several village residents, and the same word keeps coming up, moratorium. We need a moratorium. You guys can talk about it. We can talk about it at a meeting in the future, maybe 2 years on major developments like this. Let's get the AMS project in. Let's get the Carbone development in, and let's, I have no issue with the property, the property at the corner of Blakely and 9. I think that's minimal implications on emergency services and stuff. But these two other projects, we need to stop, regroup, and let's see what the effects of these projects are once they get filled up. And then let's take it from there. You have tremendous resources in that room tonight. You have Jim Ferguson. He's a fire service professional. All right. He's not just a hack. He's not just a guy who volunteers part-time. He's a retired fire service professional. He's still in the business. Mr. Altamura, he's an FDNY fire service professional. All right. The call is coming from inside the house. They're telling you the emergency services in this area and in this village cannot handle what's on the future. And when you look at that AMS building, you could have, I heard Mr. Laker say, we have experts come in and we do studies. All right, studies are studies. There's a lot between a study and real life. And when it comes down, especially in the fire service, there are a tremendous amount of variables. And we just don't have the resources in this area for large scale fires like is the possibility in a building like AMS. You're talking about potentially drawing resources from down well beyond potentially Tarrytown and into Putnam Valley and Putnam County for a large scale incident like that in one of these types of lightweight construction buildings. So I think, in my opinion, I'll wrap it up because I know you guys have been there for quite a while, but I'll wrap it up and just say I think we need a moratorium on these high density multi-unit dwellings. Take a step back. The board needs to get its act together and learn how to work together to make these decisions for the village that are going to affect us forever. And a quick aside, I'm on my way home from work today at 4:30. Traffic was backed up. I was stuck at Blakely Avenue heading toward Tate. The traffic was backed up past the light. And there wasn't anything going on. It was just traffic density on Albany Post Road. So here I am heading south on Albany Post, and I'm stuck at Blakely under the light because traffic's backed all the way up to Tate Avenue. And, we know what another 200 something units is going to do. Let's see the effects of what we have in the pipeline now and then move forward from there. I really think we need to do that. Thanks for having me on remotely. I couldn't make it tonight. Thank you.
So, under new business, I don't know what to do. We're going to start with this, and I know you have been extremely patient, and, you're getting a feel of the room here. I guess we could have him speak. We could always appoint you, and if we don't need your services, then, but at least you'll be special counsel here, going forward.
Oh, it'd
So-
be my pleasure. Yeah.
Yes, please, I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
Oh, sure, Mayor. Thank you very much. My name is Mark Blanchard. I have my own law firm, the Blanchard Law Group, but I'm also of counsel to a larger firm in Yonkers, Veneruso, Curto, Schwartz, and Accinelli. I've been practicing law for 20 years. I have most of my experience as municipal. I worked for the City of Yonkers Corporation Counsel's Office. For 2 years, I ran that department. That was for 7 years. I was the corporation counsel by appointment through a firm. I worked for Harris Beach. I worked in the city of Peekskill. I worked for the city of New Rochelle. I was planning board. In those two capacities, I ran the law department. And in town of Yorktown, I was the planning board and zoning board counsel for 18 months. So I have a lot of municipal experience. On this side now, most of my practice, I am currently the Village of Monroe zoning board counsel. But now the lion's share of my work is working for environmental review, working as a consultant for projects, working for developers, working as consultants for municipalities. So most of my work is involved with the seeker process, development process, and municipal land use entitlement process.
Sounds like you have extensive experience. So let me ask you this. How do we compare to Yonkers meetings?
Well, the famous story from Yonkers one time was that they had someone get a box of feeder mice or something from a pet store and released it during a meeting, during a budget.
Let's not give anybody any ideas. No. Okay.
That was
Really?
caused quite the commotion, but that was
Yes.
like 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Yonkers is pretty civil. It's a great place to work, actually.
Okay. All right. So is the board ready to move forward? Because we're going to go back. He has been sitting with us for quite a while. I don't know if the board has any questions of him. We'll go back to the resolution declaring notice of intent. But, like I said, if this doesn't move forward or if we don't need your services, at least we have you retained.
Sure, this really doesn't put you under any obligation at all until you ask me to do something.
Okay.
It just opens the door for you to have that opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, I went through his qualifications. I also, reviewed the recommendation by our village attorney. Thank you. To use your services, and I think it would be beneficial to have special counsel for this, and I have no problem retaining his service.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So before I read the resolution, I just wanted to see where the board's direction was. Okay, so, do you have any questions for us? Or you kind of got the picture?
I've got the picture. I've got some of the development materials ready to dive in.
And you're still here.
Yeah. Okay, whereas the Village of Buchanan routinely encounters complex municipal land use, environmental, and economic development matters that require specialized legal expertise beyond the scope of daily municipal operations, and where such matters include but are not limited to the comprehensive review, zoning analysis, environmental evaluation of the proposed 501 Broadway multifamily residential and Lens Cove Improvement Project, the 501 Broadway project. Whereas the Village Board of Trustees desires to retain an independent law firm possessing highly specialized expertise in New York State municipal law, zoning overlays, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and public-private contracts to serve as outside counsel on an as-needed basis. And whereas the law firm of Blanchard Law Group LLP has demonstrated the necessary expertise to advise the village on these matters and has proposed to render professional legal services to the village at an hourly rate of $3.75 per hour. Whereas for any projects or applications initiated by private developers, including the 501 Broadway project, the village shall require the establishment of a developer-funded escrow account to fully reimburse the village for all associated professional legal fees, ensuring that no cost falls upon local taxpayers. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan hereby authorizes the retention of Mark W. Blanchard as outside special counsel to represent and advise the Village Board of Trustees, the Planning Board, and other village agencies on special projects, including but not limited to the 501 Broadway project. And be it further resolved that special counsel may be utilized for additional municipal assignments, specialized contract drafting, or land use matters on as needed basis upon the direct request and authorization of the village board. And be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a professional services retainer with said firm incorporating these terms subject to review and final approval as to form by the village attorney. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with the board, the developer, and the community.
All right,
And
great.
of course, your attorney. Sorry.
And thank you for your patience. Sure.
It's the only question I swear I have.
The only one? Okay. While he's here, yes.
Trustee Baez, you had during the workshop asked David multiple times, like, can it be stopped during the process? And as you said tonight, let's hear what the developer, has to say and submit the application and such. It would be interesting to me, I'm sure others in the audience, but where in that do you as a board know where in that application process you can stop it legally without any cost to the village? And how? Because the lawyer from Zarin and Steinmetz for the developer said, I quote, you can, but it's a process. You have to go through a process to stop it. So how big is that process? When do you have, I don't care who's lead agency, right? But when can it be stopped? Once that ball starts rolling with the application, what's in that application that says when and where and how it gets stopped?
Yeah, I'm on the clock starting now. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, look, I mean, I think that's an interesting question. That's a tricky question for me to answer cold, sort of standing here tap dancing. But there is an answer here. You have to remember, it's a two-part process that you're undertaking. One of the parts is a zoning text amendment. Zoning text amendment is a highly discretionary act from the local elected officials. That's not a planning board action or a zoning board action. So under a zoning text amendment, the board is never obligated or bound to process that application or adopt that application. It's a zoning text amendment's treated a little differently. A secret planning board special use permit application has more protection in it for the developer. There's an application process. I don't know that I would agree that with saying, I think it's a little short-sighted to just say you can just stop an application. I think there's a lot of information that has to come out. The board could be always asking for more information. The board could be denying something, an approval if it need be. You'd wait for your planning board to come back with its referral. So the board, I think what the question really is asking for is the village protected during the process, right? Is the village protected during the process, or sometimes the fear is, if we start this application, are we bound to get to a decision? And I said, the overall answer to that is no, you are not. You are always protected during the process. But that's not to say that the developer also isn't owed protections during the process. They have to have their day in the microphone as well. So it's a complicated answer. The village is always protected during the process, but that's not to say that the developer doesn't have any rights either. But you're not bound to an approval, you're not bound to a decision. You do have discretion throughout the process, especially with the zoning map amendment and the zoning text amendment.
Before you walk away, and please
Sure.
don't charge us, I like your question, okay? My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and I've been saying this, is we are to hear what the developers have to say. We have told them of issues that we are concerned about because they have come to us from the residents. They told us they will conduct studies so that we can see what the studies say. And it is my understanding that throughout that entire process, there is no commitment on behalf of the village to move forward with such a project. Is my understanding correct or wrong?
Well, I would say there's no commitment, or you're not bound to have to approve a project. You know, once you get the project going and the developer is out there undertaking studies that are expensive, then they have a right to have that information come forward. But you're never bound to because if they have a report that says, oh, there's no impact here, you still have the ability to make a discretionary decision, right? You can have your own record. Throughout this process, the village board, the lead agency, is creating its own record. Remember, as lead agency, your obligation is to take a hard look. That's the standard. And you have your reasoned elaboration when you issue your statement of findings or your negative declaration, whatever that mechanism is, to say that the adverse impacts have been properly mitigated. So during this entire process, you are always protected by the amount of information that you find satisfactory. Okay, I'm not trying to dance around the question. I'm really trying to answer you very directly.
I want you to answer it to the best of your ability. I appreciate that.
Well, because I don't want to give the impression that the board can just drop the gavel and say, we're not hearing this anymore, we're done. It's a little more complicated than that. But you're never bound to a presumptive approval once the process starts. And I think that's maybe what's underlying these questions.
Yeah.
You're not bound to an approval, but everyone is bound, once the application starts to get processed, they have rights too as a contract vendee or as an owner of property. But you're not.
They have rights if we say, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They have rights if we say, well, this doesn't make sense, we want additional information. They have the right to say no. And
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
That's not
so
what I'm
clear
saying.
that up for me, please.
No, if a report comes back and the lead agency finds that a report is insufficient, the lead agency can absolutely at any time say, we want to supplement this report. We have additional concerns, right? That's why it's much more effective when there's a collaborative effort with the municipal team and the development team. Because you want to be bringing forth the most fruitful information possible so that you as lead agency members, you wear two hats now, right? You're legislators, but you're also now site plan approvals. So you always have the right to be asking for supplemental information.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Right. Not unreasonably,
Correct.
but if you can identify a hole in the record, or you can identify something you want supplemented, then the lead agency, I should say, the lead agency has that right for supplemental information.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know. Okay, thank you.
Can I just double-click? And I'll pay the $375. So it's okay.
I spend more time talking myself out of money than I'm making money. So
You
don't
did
worry
say
about it.
through the SECRA
SECRA.
process, the builder has a little bit more rights. Now, is that financial in nature, meaning that, you know, if the board asks for supplemental information, is there a point in the process where, and built into the application process, that it may cost the village money if they want to stop the process?
No.
Well, no, you have to understand so there are two actions: the zoning text amendment, and then all the site plan and special permit. Once the zoning text amendment goes into place, and they have certain rights as an as-of-right property holder or as-of-right contract vendee that's authorized by the owner. So I don't want to get the wrong impression, but as a petitioner for a zoning text amendment, you're wholly at risk. But as an applicant for a site plan, you are entitled to your day up here. You are entitled to present information, you know. So I don't mean to be repetitive. I think I answered it the same way, but I maybe I don't fully understand the question. But the village is always protected throughout the process, and you're not bound to say yes. Is that satisfactory?
And there's not a specific point in the process that they have to say, we've heard enough, no, we don't approve it. Like, is there?
Oh, there's a decision point. You get to a decision point, of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and they
Yeah.
can,
And there are guidelines within the secret process. There are timeframes and guidelines. It depends on what avenue you choose. But you are guided by limitations within the statute. You know, that does try its best to control the timeframes. You can't just adjourn indefinitely and torture a developer. But then again,
Correct.
you also don't have to accept insufficient information. So it does go. That's what I'm saying. It goes both ways.
Darlene, I think you and I wanted to know the same thing. When,
because you asked several times
yes,
during
no,
the
I agree
workshop.
with you. Is there a point in time that a decision has to be made? Yes. Does it have to be tonight or a month from now or 2 months from now? No.
And I think
no,
the
you-
public's concerned to say if you even start the process.
That it's a commitment.
Because AMS, right, it's in people's heads.
I
you know,
understand.
AMS started with the same thing, and then we just ended up with a 5-story building that, you know, wasn't the intent, whatever.
I get you, and I, again, will reiterate to everyone, I've not made a decision. This, in my opinion, this entire thing has been blown out of proportion. To me, I just asked for more information. I never said I want it or I don't want the building. I just said I want more information. That's all.
But as the developer said, they have to go through, you know, you got to accept their application in order for them to do all the studies and all of that.
Because
right?
that's another one, which is good. In accepting the application, my understanding is we're saying, okay, show us the project, show us what you want, and still the research for the questions we've asked have to be done without a commitment.
Correct.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. Think of it this way. It's not so much a village board member action, right? Sometimes we disagree politically or something. The application process is driven by, under the law, the SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act. Under that, there is the identification of potential environmental impacts, adverse environmental impacts. Forgot the most important word, right? And like a gentleman earlier said, well, there's a wetlands issue in this project. So as part of the developer's responsibility to give the lead agency information, they will develop reports and showing how they are not going to damage the wetlands. Or if they are going to take some wetlands, they'll replace them somewhere else. And there's a specific ratio. And so there is information that the law requires to show that you're mitigating an environmental impact. It's not really so subjective. The law calls out certain things, and that's a protection for the board and for the developer, right? So it's going to be a very transparent record upon which this board will use to approve or deny. That's what SECRA is all about, is collecting information to show that you've mitigated an adverse impact. SECRA was born out of environmental review, right? Aesthetics, view shed, community character. These are now all issues that are considered to be environmental issues that get studied under SECRA.
And
It's a very widely encompassing statute.
Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, we all get excited, right? But I mean it in a good way. I'm sorry if I cut you off, but I thought of something else. So I heard tonight that the land might be contaminated, that there are issues with the land. Legally, let's pretend it's true. I don't know if it is or it isn't, right? But let's say it is. Legally, if the developer does their study, finds out that the land is contaminated, can they come back and give us a false study saying that it's fine?
No, of course not.
Okay, I want to put it out there because I'm listening, I am listening, I'm writing notes, and I want to make sure that I'm asking the right questions, because when I have to make a decision, if we are lead agency, I want to be fair to everyone.
You have to remember, those reports, this isn't going to be like, Joe Greedy developer writing something on a napkin and handing it over.
Correct.
Those reports are coming to you. Those are engineers that have licenses that sign and seal their reports. Those are architects or other design professionals, traffic engineers, civil engineers, professional engineers. Those reports are coming to you from professionals who have to think about their license. Who are not going to falsify something. Unless they're at great risk to their livelihood.
Thank you.
But it
Sorry.
is a concern of the public. No, I'm sorry. I'm glad you brought it up, because the concern is, like the pavilion. Let's not get into that long discussion right now. We have that
right
that
now.
we're dealing with, right? Because a can of worms was opened. And we know there's some issues over potential. I don't know much of anything. But if we the concern is, are we opening up that can of worms? Of course, the developer, and they're not gonna lie, and it's, of course. But we're gonna have, as the developer said during the workshop, it's on the village, if anything is found, which legally I'm sure it is, that there is a problem there with dumping, contamination, whatever the case may be. Is there a concern by the board that you're gonna be opening up a can of worms that is right now not opened?
Well, if there's contamination, you don't think we should know that if it's going to affect the livelihood of the residents?
And that would certainly, sway a decision and,
Yeah.
be a cause for concern and could.
Right, no, swaying
We're not gonna tuck it
100%.
away if it's not a good
Right.
area.
Right, no, but I'm
but
just
nobody
saying, we have
knows.
to then deal with it, right? I mean, you consider as a board, like you just said, and like, well, isn't it good to know if we probably know we do have some issue over there already.
I don't
sure
know
we
that.
do.
Listen, sincerely, I do not know that. If we find out in the process, then I feel it's our responsibility to deal with it and do something about it.
I'm just saying,
We would
may
have
be-
to do the
I'm not
cleanup.
saying we shouldn't, we're gonna have to, right? 'Cause
No,
Yes.
I understand what you're saying.
Just a quick question,
If
sorry.
something, if they find something there, are we environmentally bound to clean it up? Are we financially bound to clean up a mess that is found by discovery?
Well,
That's
we're
the
being told
question.
it's there.
How much would it cost?
Oh, listen,
That
Can you,
I'm
can
not-
you state your name, please?
oh, yeah.
Greg Leibowitz, 235 Westchester.
Thank you.
Brett, I'm not trying to open up, no, but I want to answer you. I'm not, listen, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm trying, just like you, I'm trying to learn of the process. I'm trying to learn what's out there. I'm not saying, I'm hearing that it's contaminated. Someone spoke. But if it is, then we will have to figure out what to do. But right now, I'm a resident here, and I'm asking myself, whoa, is there contamination in that area?
And that's
So-
probably a liability on any village land.
Do we want to open up and discover?
So are you saying we should leave it tucked away then?
Better safe than sorry, yes.
I'm just asking,
I
but
think I
you
have an
see,
answer.
respect has to go both ways. I'm asking the questions of the concerns that are coming to the table. I'm not hiding from them.
If I may, board member, in my experience,
Wilda.
I did it's on a land disposition agreement on behalf of the developer in the city of Mount Vernon. We were buying a Mount Vernon building, city-owned Mount Vernon building. And as part of that LDA negotiation, that you build in, there were certain protections that are built in, where you either are sharing cleanup costs, or the developer has them, or the city has them. Like, these questions are a little too open-ended right now to really answer. It just leads to too much speculation. But that's where the village gets protected in that LDA, right, and things of that nature. But look, it does walk in. As a property owner who has contamination on that property, you are a municipal corporation, you are a property owner. So, but look, I would say that the village will be protected to the greatest extent possible within that LDA. So,
Thank you.
I would say, yeah.
No, just need to.
Yeah, we don't know if it's a brownfield. We just, nobody knows
No,
until
yeah.
the door gets opened.
No, it's difficult to speculate because
Yeah.
your imaginations can run wild when it comes to environmental contamination.
And that property over there in the M1 district, as of right, there's certain uses that are permitted as of right. One being a gas station with a convenience store. So if this applicant or the property owner wants to do that, they don't go before us at all. They can put up a gas station and a convenience store. So
Existing zoning, that's why it's there.
yeah, so it's just something for the public to remember that everybody has a right to use a property in some manner.
Yeah, of course. That's why orderly zoning, try to put businesses in one place, houses in another.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Okay, but thank you very much. I look forward to the opportunity.
Thank
you. To the attorney? Okay, and then this is going to be the last so that we can move on. I'm sorry.
The real question that I think the people I speak to want to know is, if we do this and do this declaration. Oh, yeah. Lisa Mercora, 162 First. The question is, you said if there's something they want to ask them more, they give them more information, they prove that they're going to mitigate, they prove that they're going to solve the problem. What if our trustees finally, talk to enough village residents that say, stop, we don't want it? Can they just say, we don't want to do it anymore? And it's not because of anything that was negative. So it's like you said a couple times, oh, you are protected. If you need more information, they'll give you more information. You are protected. If there's something that is wrong, they have to mitigate it. No, are we protected if we just totally change our mind and if they finally see what all of us are saying, we don't want it. Bob wants it. And I will talk to Bob after the meeting. But Bob, are we protected from that? Or at that point, can they sue us? Can they this? Can they that? Like, can we stop it then? Not because of something negative.
Well, what you're describing, the way I would advise as a special counsel, right, to the municipality, you are talking about under secret, there is an impact to community character.
Right.
And if you feel that you're changing the community character of every single resident from Buchanan, to use a wild example, showed up here and said, we don't want this, right? And the board came to a conclusion that maybe the community character will be changed in the negative way, and it's an unmitigatable, I can't believe I just pronounced that, it's an unmitigatable adverse impact. Then the board has the discretion to stop the project. But I'm just using kind of a crazy example. I don't want us to be thinking about, hold on, I don't want us to be thinking about this in terms of, can we stop the project? I think that's the incorrect thought process. I think I want you to move the needle a little, and think about this process as always. The discretion to approve always remains with the village. You never have a gun to your head where you say, well, you spent $1 million, now I have to approve you. It doesn't work that way. But it also doesn't work where you just drop the guillotine and shut it off either. Both sides have rights.
Right.
But you're not bound. The village is not bound to, and I'm not bound to a developer because they've spent a lot of money or they spent a lot of time.
Okay.
The discretionary approval always remains. That should be the takeaway.
Okay, so the example that you gave, by the way, was they can somehow use that it doesn't fit the character,
That's
reason.
one aspect of
That's
the
one
secret
aspect.
review,
I
yes,
saw that. I saw that in AMS's. AMS, said this fits the character. That's one of the reasons that we declared a negative declaration, because we said it was fine on all these things and there was nothing negative. But I think some of the villagers, many of them, would disagree with that. So like, even though someone might argue that and say, oh, well, it's still against, we might say it's against the character, they might say it is for the character, because that's what happened with AMS.
Look, the only thing I can say is, the secret process is very transparent. Public hearings, acceptance of written comment. The community is this involved on the evening when there's potential notice of intent to declare lead agency resolution. And I'm sure the community is going to be sharing comments, appearing at meetings, right? I can't answer your question with a total definitive answer because it's a hypothetical. Right, there are lots of ways to answer that question. The only thing I can tell you is repeat: the village always has protection. You're always subject to your discretionary approval, and the public, it's part of the record. Secret is all about building a record. What record do I have to make my decision? So you're describing. We can't look backwards and say, well, a mistake was made at AMS, which I'm not familiar with, by the way. But I think that's dangerous to keep looking backwards. I think you've put your focus into this ongoing process, and the board always remembers that they are the approval agency, right? That's important. I hope I'm answering your question. I'm not trying to deflect, but I'm also trying to be fair to both sides.
I'm trying to be fair too, and that's why if we can't, use any reason to discontinue this later on. And the example that you gave was, you know, you could say change of character or whatever. If any of these reasons wouldn't hold up, and we don't have a clear way, clear and simple, to just say, we changed our minds, we don't want, then why are we starting this tonight? You don't have enough feedback. You have almost everyone in this room that doesn't want you to do it. We don't know where the people are that want it. They're not here. One person is.
I think it's unrealistic, and I think it's unfair
Fair.
to hold the board to a standard that they can just take their shovel and bucket and leave the sandbox.
I do think it's
Like,
unfair too. That's why we shouldn't enter.
No, there is a process. I think I can't tell you that you can just stop it on a dime because you changed your mind. But I have to repeat, the board is never bound to a yes. The board always has the ability
To say no.
to make a decision, to say no.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do for you, I'm sorry.
Okay, but it just seems like when you talked about it, you were like, because you can request more information, because you can see how they mitigate. Those aren't the things we want to do. We might get to the point where we just want to discontinue because enough residents don't want it.
Look,
Is that a good enough reason?
We kind, yeah, we
That's a
have to
different
kind of
conversation.
wrap it up. But I appreciate your taking your time to explain to the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the feedback.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay,
Thank
thank you. Okay, so we're going to go back to A. Thank you all for hanging in there. A was a resolution declaring notice of intent to act as legal agency. I do have a few questions. Chris Lynch is the developer. Do you have a financial statement of what your estimated revenue would be for the village if this project gets built?
Yeah, that'll be part of our,
Application,
sure, go ahead.
right? Yeah.
That would be part of seeker and one of the many studies that we provide.
So do you have any estimate at this point? Because when we started with AMS, we kind of had a rough approximation of $250,000.
$250,000.
That would be
Oh.
revenue for the village.
We'll get that in the very short term. I don't have that tonight. Tonight was only about the village considering to declare themselves as lead agency.
Okay, I was kind of looking for that info. The other thing is, I'm trying to get this in my head, the land swap or whatever, I'm just trying to see if I have it right. You're looking to purchase 3 acres of property behind our sewer treatment plant that will abut to your property.
Yes.
And then, so what you're looking for in return of that, what's the exact thing you're looking for in return?
We're going to purchase the property from the village. We're going to pay you money for that property. It's not in return for the Lens Cove Park improvements. Those are being solely funded on the petitioner's dime. We estimate approximately $2 million in improvements to Lens Cove Park. And like I believe my colleague, I'm Aaron Warner, by the way, with Zarin and
Hi, Aaron.
Steinmetz. Hi, good evening. My colleague David and Patrick, who they apologize they couldn't be here tonight, they explained at your board's June 23rd workshop meeting that we want this to be a collaboration with the village. We want to hear from your board as well as constituents and residents what those improvements would look like. And we're looking forward to beginning that with you.
So is there any estimate on what the 3 acres, like what's the purchase price? Has there been any?
That would be after you hire an appraiser.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so the
complete
appraiser.
your own appraisal. We don't tell you what that value is.
Okay,
You
that makes
you have to
sense.
tell us from your appraiser.
Okay, so the 2 million in improvements. So you talked about doing the parking lot. You talked about a restaurant. And the village would retain ownership of that property?
That's correct.
Okay, so the village would still retain ownership of the Lens Cove property?
100% of it, yes.
Okay, so what about the restaurant?
The restaurant would be that would be probably under a license agreement. We'd have to work that out, where the the restaurateur or the building leases from the village.
So the village is going to be a landlord. Okay.
A landlord with no debt. They're not paying for the restaurant.
Right,
They're not,
okay.
so there's no cost for the village.
Okay.
It'd be like a triple net lease.
So basically, in lieu of purchasing, you'd be purchasing the property from the village, the 3 acres, plus you would be doing the parking lot
proposed
at Lens
improvements,
Cove
yeah,
and,
yep.
and the restaurant. Okay.
There's been a lot of talk about the what's in there. It's kind of unknown what's in there. We're not looking to disturb that asphalt that's there. We're looking to repave it in a very similar size and shape. So we're not looking to disturb. That's where we believe we're gonna study this and determine what's there. But we're not looking to disturb that. We're looking to put down new asphalt. We're not looking to get into it, and that new asphalt will serve the park. It'll be similar size to what it is today.
Because I thought our
With striping.
engineer told us that we had to do some borings and things like that.
I don't know why he's not here. I don't know
Yeah, I
why.
know. I
We'll-
can't
and that's
really
part
have
of
that
a study
conversation.
that we're going to get
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
He'll comment. It'll be a very open process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. Does the board have any questions for these gentlemen?
No.
Okay.
So I would just like to back up a little bit. There's a couple of procedural points that I think we need to get to. So last Thursday, we provided an updated submission to your board. This was partially in response to initial comments by your consultant planner, David Smith. So this updated submission included a updated environmental assessment form, a revised conceptual site plan, project renderings and elevations, an amended exhibit to the zoning petition to account for a modification to redesignate the underlying zoning district of the property from the M1 zoning district to the C2 zoning district before applying the C1, C2 overlay zoning district. This revision was solely to account for the village's front yard setback requirements, where the current M1 zoning district requires a 50-foot front yard setback, which is appropriate for commercial or industrial development. The C2 zoning district requires 30-foot front yard setbacks, which is more appropriate, we think, for a residential use. So again, and like we were discussing, we are contract vendee for that portion of property that's abuts 501 Broadway and is behind the wastewater treatment plant. With that purchase, we're also proposing to purchase an additional 5-foot strip of land in order to meet the 30-foot front yard setback of the C2 zoning district. This change, the project is still the same. All of the substantive information, the units have remained the same. None of this will affect the secret process. And on that note, and I think Mr. Blanchard put it quite eloquently, so you don't have to take it from me. Tonight, if you were to vote to approve this resolution to circulate notice of intent to be a lead agency, you're not approving this project. You're not tasked for doing that tonight. This is purely, you can consider it like an administrative action to circulate the notice of intent to be lead agency, which is what, even if there was a dispute amongst lead agencies, how it would work is it would go to the DEC. The secret handbooks and guidelines specifically state that the lead agency should go to the agency that has the broadest approval for a project. Here, that's your board. Your board is the only board that can grant a rezoning, and also the only board that can grant a special use permit for multifamily dwellings in the C1, C2 overlay for this project. So even if there was a dispute for lead agency, it's highly likely that the DEC would choose your board to act as lead agency. And here tonight, all we're really asking is for you to follow your code. And we can go into the impacts. There's been a lot of discussion about that. Frankly, it's a little bit jumping the gun at this point. What we can commit to is that we will be conducting the studies. We're happy to discuss the type of studies, the scope of those studies with your board and the consultants. But tonight, and respectfully, we would like for your board to vote to circulate notice of intent to be, and to declare notice of intent to be lead agency, and to circulate the same to all of the involved and interested agencies. So we're happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
So we've listened to the public this evening. I would have preferred to get at least an estimate of financially what the benefit would be for the village. Once again, you know, Chris, nothing personal. You know, this is all about the village. It's always about the village. With all the development we've had, I personally feel it too much, too soon, too fast. We don't know what the effects of the other developments are, and you hear the same concerns from the public. I'm very much not interested in selling the village property. We have a fire department that's bulging at the seams, and they have no more property. We have a highway department bulging at the seams. I don't know what we're going to need, you know, for the future of that. And like I said, it's a cumulative effect at this point. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying about doing the studies and everything. I've heard residents talk about a moratorium. You know, they're just concerned about the fastness of the development here. We're a small community. We've had development over the years, but it's been family homes and things like that. This is something very new for this community. We're only 1.3 square miles, very small population. So this is a huge change. Some people want change, some people don't. You know, maybe I just would like to take more time and really see what the effects of the other are. And I do understand what you're saying about notice of intent, notice and doing all that. But I'm just not. I think I'm just not ready to do this yet. So I'm only one vote. So you know, the rest of the board can decide.
I would just like to briefly add that our studies will take into account these other developments in the village. And all of these studies are done with methodology that is well accepted in the engineering and planning communities. And ours will be no different.
Okay. So I am going to read the resolution, and then the board will take a vote. Okay. Whereas on or about June 18th, representatives of Landy Associates LLC did submit a facially complete petition to the Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees for an amendment to the zoning map of the Village of Buchanan from M1 district. So we're changing the zoning. So from N1, which is light industrial, then it goes to a C2 district, and then the applicant is asking for a C1, C2 overlay, which is what we did on Albany Post Road, along with required special permit, subdivision, and site plan approval. Whereas Article 12, Section 21153, am I reading the wrong one? We're on 211. I apologize. We're doing, no, that's the right one. That's right. I was thinking of the next thing. Provides for process and procedures for amendments to the village's zoning code, and the applicant has provided a draft of proposed zoning amendments along with other supporting documentation. Whereas on June 23rd, 2026, at a regularly scheduled meeting of the village board, the board did review and discuss the proposed action. Whereas the village board, under Section 700 of the New York State Village Law and Article 12, 211, 53 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, is the only duly authorized legislative body that has the authority to approve the proposed zoning map amendments, and by village code, the only entity to approve the required special permit and site plan. And whereas, after review of the petition, the village board acknowledges that there are other interested and involved agencies, as those terms are defined under SEQR State Environmental Quality Review Act, that should be notified of the village board's intent to act as lead agency. And now, therefore, be resolved, the village board pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, Part 617 of the General Regulations, and adopted pursuant Part 617, and hereby determines that the proposed action is subject to SEQR and is a Type 1 action. And be it further resolved that the following agencies identified by the EAF and using all due diligence are interested or involved agencies for the proposed action, and should provide a copy of this notice of intent to act as lead agency. Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to be a no.
I'm also going to be a no, as I've stated. So we're at a stalemate right now. It's a loss. Well, that's right, the other board member is not here.
Respectfully, I'm going to be a little bit candid here, but
Okay,
I
well,
think this
tell us what
is
you're
I
thinking.
think this is a mistake. I don't believe your board has the empirical data to make this decision right now. It seems apparent to me that there's been a lot of things said about the impacts that have no basis. This initial beginning of the seeker process is meant to allow us to go and get that information, to present it to your board, to provide your board with the data that you need to make an informed decision. And look, in light of one of the board members not being here, we would ask for you to please reconsider, and we can take this up again at your next board meeting.
It's up to you, it's not to me. We do have we did have this on the agenda.
We the people. Going after a village resident. We speak loudly, and more than one resident.
I'm not going to change my vote.
Respectfully, I don't think this is right. I would implore you to do the right thing here and to allow us to present again before your board. I think there was a number of residents here who spoke. I think there was a lot of things said, not a lot good. I don't think that.
Save our village.
I don't. Excuse me,
Mayor,
Okay.
can you control the room, please?
Yes.
Respectfully,
Okay,
Mayor,
yes,
respectfully.
I am.
Control the room.
Guys,
You haven't done
please.
it all night, from the very beginning, Mayor. Mayor, no,
excuse
you
me.
haven't.
You know, let me tell you something.
Mayor,
You're
please
here
control
in the
the room.
village of Buchanan.
I'm just asking you to control the room,
These
Mayor.
are our residents.
Yes,
These are the
control the room.
homeowners, the taxpayers. This is their home.
Yes,
When they
control
want to
the room.
speak, they will speak. I will not stop them. Like right now, this gentleman is speaking, but please do not try to shut these people up in any way, shape, or form. God bless them all that they came out tonight to step up for how they feel.
Respectfully, I'm asking you to control the room.
So
We're trying
while
to
this
speak.
gentleman is speaking, please let him speak. Let's be respectful to the speaker. I appreciate that.
So I'd just like to
Sure.
make clear. So if you are voting a no, what is your resolution going to be? What would you like to have happen here? Is it that the planning board is lead agency? Are you suggesting that?
I think I gave my reasons why I didn't want to move it forward. I do understand you would do studies, et cetera, and give us more information, but, you know, there has been a lot of residents who have spoken, and I think the one that spoke on the Zoom, I think that one really hit home to me with asking for a moratorium on big buildings. This has been a huge change for us here, this whole thing, and it's your project. I'm sure, you think it's a great project. But it's a cumulative effect for us. We're going to have over 400 apartments within a couple of years. We're looking at 1,000 more people. We're talking about the effects of our services. We're talking about, our EMS, which we're obviously, with the conversation that we're having some issues here. And I lived that life. When my father died in 1984, in front of me, on the ground outside my store, the Verplank ambulance was busy. There was no one came. I don't want anyone to ever feel that. It's heartbreaking watching someone die, okay? I had to wait for somebody from the Peekskill Ambulance Corps a half an hour later. Nobody knew in 1984 CPR. Nobody knew any of that. I can't even tell you that experience. It's heartbreaking. There's no help. There's no help coming. I can't. I need to know our services are up on par before we take on more. And I don't normally tell people about that whole situation, but that just, when I heard that tonight, it was a flashback for me.
Mayor, I'm very
Well,
sorry.
As far as I go, as I said a couple weeks ago, that I've talked to a lot of people. I did my homework over the last 2 weeks. 4th of July is here, a lot of picnics. I stopped at a lot of picnics. I know a lot of people. I walk my dog. I hear what the residents are saying. And I'm here to represent all the residents, even if they didn't vote for me. And I just feel that now it's too fast, too much going on with everything going with the AMS project. We don't even know how that's going to affect our services yet. And I think Nick Zachary hit the nail right in the head when he spoke earlier in the day about that.
And
I
I don't
voted
want to
yes.
lead you on either, to spend more money.
We'll come back before you when there's a complete board. Thank you for your time tonight.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, I'm sorry. Bob, can I have your agenda for a second? I don't know where I put mine. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so the next is, I don't know, I have to ask the board what they want to do with this. So this is a resolution declaring lead agency status for a proposed zoning text and map amendment to create new zoning designations in the waterfront development district and waterfront development industrial overlay for the properties located on the west side of Broadway. So we're looking at the southern side of Broadway. And what this is, all we're looking to do this evening is to schedule a public hearing, understanding that an interested party in this would like for us to postpone this to scheduling the public hearing. I will leave it up to the board. I myself would like to move forward, but I'd like to get the board's opinion on that.
I'm in agreement with you to move forward.
No, I would respect the interested party and suggest that this gets postponed for a month. We've been talking about this for 2 years. I don't think, they brought up some valid reasons that they wanted to discuss with our planner who's not here today, so I have no problem with waiting another month.
Have you spoken to them today? Because I didn't hear those valid reasons today. I just heard that they...
Email that Cindy.
Okay, I only read the top part.
Something to do with the tax cert and...
Oh, and related concepts, okay. All right, so we're going to skip over that now. We will schedule the public hearing at the next meeting for the following month. Okay, the next is, I'm so sorry.
Are you going to do the lead agency part? There's a resolution and that's
Mm-hmm. Okay, that we become the lead agency on that?
Or are you going to do it all at once next
Do it all next month?
Yeah, we might as well do it all, because Cindy, it's gonna get confusing. Do you know what I mean? So we'll just table that one for now. I'm going to be opening a public hearing amending Chapter 211. This is about the communication towers and the wireless facilities. So we have done some changes, recommended changes from Mr. Comey to move forward on this waiving some of the requirements. Some of the things we were told were outdated, so this would allow communication towers on village-owned property in the R40. So for those that haven't been following us, we have a problem with our cell phones. You can see the cell service isn't that great, and it's getting worse and worse. So a site has been found. It's the very end of, oh, good, perfect. It's the very end of First Street. It's behind the ball field. It's very close to the Con Edison property. As a matter of fact, I think it borders the Con Edison property. So that was deemed the most appropriate place to put that, and once that goes live, we should have much better cell service here in the village. So Cindy, can you make that large? Okay, look at her go. Okay, so if you know where the highway department is, and you know where people dump the electronics, so if you continue to go straight down that road, that's First Street in the Village of Buchanan. So at the very end of it, the cell tower would be located in that area.
So let me show you on this one.
The paper road, First Street continues into a paper road.
Well, that's something the board has to work on too, because it appears Con Edison has taken over our paper road that goes to Broadway. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be a discussion on that. Sure.
Okay, so there's the First Street coming that way. And where is the tower area?
Well, not, probably more like that, sorry.
Okay, so it's over on Broadway.
Far corner.
So if you go straight down First Street, Nick, you're driving into the paper road. It's at the end of that, you know where the bar is? Not the alcohol bar, Nick, don't go there. I know. It's, the village has their sand pile or their salt pile, and you keep going back as far as you can before the gas pipeline. It's exactly to the left of that. There's an area that's seems to be the most suitable area for it.
Are they going to be putting up those antennas whereby it looks like a tree, a pine tree?
I'm not sure. It's far enough back, but, is that something you'd be interested in, the little tree-like things?
Really?
Okay. I mean, it's something, we could talk about, sure. Yes, Mr.
Jeff Fiala,
Fiala.
212 Craft Lane. Do we know what type of technology it is going to be, the cell phone? Is it a whip antennas, or is it?
That's a good question. I would have to have Mr. Comey come
You
in.
need to look at the dangers, the
Mhm.
safety concerns, what type of structures are going to be there, generators, power, and then as far as the tree at the Amberlands apartment, the town of Cortland put one up. They put the branches out. It looked beautiful, pine tree, but then they had to come back and take the branches down because it affected the whip antennas.
Oh.
And if
okay.
it's a certain type of frequency in a whip antenna, there's also hot spots. So any houses that are there, they have to do a study of where the waves are going. They had
Okay.
that problem in Austin.
All right, so
They
there's
put one on
more.
the high school, and it was going into a child's room. So
Oh.
there are safety concerns,
Sure.
but you need to find out what type of technology it is.
Would you be able to come to the next workshop? I'll see if Mr. Comey can zoom in for us, and residents can then ask, information on that. No, those are some good points. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Sure, yeah. Oh, sure, absolutely. Come on. Sure. Come up to the mic, because otherwise it won't pick up. Please. No, I'm trying to, before we get there.
I'm staying with your cell tower. Tom Cavallari, 234 Gallagher Street. That ball field that's down there, kids play in that ball field?
Yes.
Okay. And you think it's a good idea to put a cell tower above all the kids playing in the ball field? Talk to the people up in Mount Kisco.
Okay.
They just fought that. They wanted to put a cell tower in, is it Leonard Park, I think it is, up there. residents were totally against it because kids play there, they're there all the time. It's not a good safety decision to make.
Okay. We could open the public hearing and then leave it open for another month for more comments and more information. Yeah. So I'm going to open the public hearing, amending Chapter 211, Article 13, entitled Communication Towers and Personal Wireless Facilities, to repeal certain regulations and to waive other requirements, and amend Section 211, Schedule of the Use Regulations, to allow communication towers on village-owned land in the R40 district. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so with those questions that came up, if the board has no other comments, I'd like to table this and keep this open so we can have further conversation on this. So I'd like to make a motion to table this, to close the public hearing, right? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I didn't open it. Yeah, I thought I did, to open the public hearing. So I'm closing the, Nick, stop confusing me. So, yeah, adjourning.
You're adjourning.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And you
Improper.
forgot to- I think you didn't put number 5 in there.
Number 5, I'm sorry, I did not.
Which is the use table, right?
Oh, yes, and the use table.
So it's both, you're doing them both together.
Be both together, yes. Okay, and the use table. So we're going to adjourn this public hearing, not close it. Thank you, Nick. Nick always kept me in line, so.
Come back.
That was a tough job, right? Okay, good. Okay, so then we would also skip from the use table too, because that would also be kept open. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
You're at G,
Okay.
I think.
I think we're on G. Okay, so G. The engineer has recommended that we reject the bid for the sewage treatment sludge removal for 2026. So I'd like to make a motion to reject the bid for the sludge collection. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So now what we need to do is I'm making a motion authorizing the engineer to prepare specifications and to advertise for bids for sludge removal. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. And then the next thing we have a roof over at the sewer treatment plant that is in dire need of replacement. It also has asbestos, so not only is it the replacement, but the asbestos removal. I believe Cindy and I have been around a little while. That roof is the original roof from the 60s sometime. So we originally got our sewer treatment plant in the 62, 65 era, and that roof seemed to last a long time, but now it needs to be replaced. So I'd like to make a motion authorizing the engineer to prepare specifications and to advertise for bids for the wastewater treatment plant roof. Can I have a second?
Second.
On a question, yes, sir.
Can we ask Franzoso if they can do for free the roof?
We can ask.
Pitch in some donation money?
We could always ask.
They did the ball field in,
Could you please come to, I'm sorry, I keep having you go. All right, so a gentleman has asked if we could go ask Franzoso Contracting to donate doing the roof. We could ask, why not? Sure. It's a good thought.
they did the ball field over in, Seabolt.
Oh,
They did netting, they did whole roof.
okay. So they did the Seabolt, Franzoso did the Seabolt baseball field and did a lot of stuff for free. All right, we can ask, sure, yes. Did I get an all in favor on that to go out for spec, and then we can have that conversation still? And then also there's a motion to accept the resignation of firefighter Jason Martin and to move firefighter Austin Grant from the active list to the associates list. So can I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, since Ben Mevick moved to the associate judge, we've had a position open on our zoning board. Several people have asked to be put on the board. It is the mayor's appointment. I spoke to NICOM. It's the mayor's appointment. I didn't have to do it at a public meeting, but I think it's important for everyone to know at the same time. Also, tomorrow I will do it, Cindy, officially to the village clerk and sign it that he's been appointed. And I'm happy to say that I am appointing to fill that vacancy Vito Calcutto. Vito Calcutti. Thank you, Vito. Appreciate. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the reports from information and officers. And the first is the justice reports for May 2026. One is 2,581. Oh, there's only one. Okay, police report. Who has the police report? I
That would
forget.
be me.
Oh, you do?
The
Okay.
month of May, there were total calls 185, 26 moving summons, 21 calls for service, and 15 assist citizens.
Okay, highway report. Oh, no, Weldon him had denied, had declined the information from departments and officers.
So
Did I
there's-
give that to you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
think I gave it to
113 tons of refuge. There were 10 televisions collected, 6 monitors, 4 air conditioners. The Highway Department does a great job of putting together a really comprehensive report. I really wish the public could see everything that they do on a daily basis. You know, from fixing the pool house and getting things ready for our summer camp to, you know, just putting up the flags around the village, maintenance of the ball field. They did a lot of work on 4th Street, I saw recently. So they do a great job. They're really working hard, and they're out there, especially in this heat. So I thank those guys.
We're lucky to have them. Good group. Thank you, Steve. Wastewater plant for May 2026, treated water was 9 million, sludge removal 211,000 gallons. We had a Westchester County Department of Health inspection, no violations. And everything is working okay over there, so good news, thank God. Building Department, May 2026.
The May report, they issued 19 building permits, 16 CFOs and completions have been issued. There's 5 compliance inspections for resale or refinance. The AMS construction is moving along as per schedule. The building permits are close to being issued for the Village Square project, and the building permit was issued to the Gallon Measure project.
And I know the building department's been busy. If you look, there's a lot of houses up for sale in the village, and it takes time for the building department to review these properties. So they've been extremely busy. Buchanan Engine, there were 3 automatic alarms, 1 gas emergency, 3 mutual aid, and 1 motor vehicle accident. Okay, and the capital project, Utility 12 update is back in service, and we are waiting for the vendor to re-letter the hood. All body work has been completed.
And the hood has been redone.
And the hood's been redone too, so that's back in service, so that's great. Let's see, planning board minutes we have that information. Prosecutor's report, there is nothing. Attorney's report, anything from you, Stephanie?
Well, it's been busy.
Yes, it certainly
Going through all these
has.
various developments, having zoning and planning, and we are in zoning tomorrow night on the 32 Albany Post Road.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we're
lot
back
going
in.
on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. They're moving that forward.
Busy.
Busy.
Mayor's report, we had on July 4th, we had Justice Dan O'Neill When Dan was mayor, each year he would do the Declaration of Independence. He'd read it on July 4th. I asked him to come back to do that again, so we had some people there. So everyone knows Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg had given us some of the Declaration of Independence books. I will have them in the office tomorrow, also in Spanish. So anyone that would like a copy of the Declaration, you are more than welcome to come. I was at a birthday party on Saturday for a longtime village resident who was born here in the village. He's 90 years old, celebrated his 90th. So it was a very nice party. So we still have some of our old-time residents, our senior residents, I should say, our senior residents who have been born in the village, actually born in the village and still live here. I also want to mention my uncle George Malice. He was also born here in the village, the house across from the street where I live, with his other brothers and sisters, and he was on July 3rd. So we have 2 birthday boys this month. There is something else, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But Wilda, what do you have for us?
Just simply want to thank everyone for coming out. Please know that I am listening. I have no preconceived notions of what that project was going to bring or not. I just wanted to hear it out. But it doesn't mean that I'm not listening to you. I also listen to the residents that do not want to come to these meetings for obvious reasons. And believe it or not, there are many, many pro-development people out there that just won't voice their opinion. But it doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't count. Every voice counts, at least for me. Thank you.
Steve, what do you have for us?
Thank you very much. Yeah, tonight was nothing short of a circus, but I always try to be respectful of everyone. Something that came to light. I know Mr. Ferguson when he got up here. I feel like there's a misunderstanding out there, and he came, and I know he pretty much singled me out regarding the EMS call. And if the time was taken, I'd love to sit down with you. I'm not even sure if he's here, but I'm 100% on your side. I'm 100% in agreement with what you're saying. And I just think that there's a lot of misunderstanding out there in the community. It's not, us against everyone else. I'm a part of the community. I want to make this community better. Look, development, I think, has to occur in some shape or form. As, Bob pointed out, there's certain levers. Maybe this one is too big. That's understandable. There's a lot of questions, but you don't really know the answers until you go through the process. And I was willing to listen to that process. That may be wrong, but there's a lot of professionals out there, and we actually got 2 professionals, one on the fire and one on the police, that were going to be willing, to be retained their services. And we didn't get that far, at least not this point, but I just wish that everybody had more of an open mind and just understand that it's not just 100%, at least in my mind, of just developing everything. It's hearing everybody out. And, and that's on both sides. That's from whoever comes in here. I remember years ago, and Teresa, we had a difference of opinion when it was a battery storage. I didn't say I wanted a battery storage. I wanted to hear what they had to say. I wanted to hear all about it. I want to hear the revenue. I want to hear the impact. I want to hear everything before I say no. And I just feel like, I wish residents would just take a step back, understand that we're just trying to do the best job that we can with the information that we're given and trying to follow the rules of the village. So thank you. And Mr. Ferguson, love to get together with you and try to solve this problem with the agency code with the fire department. So thank you.
And like I said, at this next workshop in July, any of our fire personnel, EMS personnel, please come in. We need to have a discussion. Things are changing rapidly here in the village, and we need to relook at our services. Bob, what do you have for us?
Not too much right now. I'd like to just back up Steve, because Steve and I have talked about the agency code number for a few years now, trying to get that resolved. Hopefully we'll get that resolved. And, like I said, I'm not against development, just not something to the magnitude they showed in front of us. And it's got to be smart. We have to see what's going on with this AMS project, how it's going to affect the taxpayers, how it's going to affect our roads, how it's going to affect just the whole livelihood of this village. So, I'm going to be able to put my head down and on a pillow tonight and feel good about myself. I felt I did the right thing. And that's all I can ask for myself and the rest of the board members. They're all here working, it's a thankless job. So, it just is. So we all know that we're up here to do the best for the village. And that's all I really have to say right now.
And real quick, I did want to congratulate Vito on your appointment.
Oh, yes. Congratulations.
Okay, and I want to make something clear also. His first meeting is tomorrow night. I'm not against development. I have been saying it for a long time. I'm for smart development. I'm for development not led by a developer coming in here telling us what we should be doing. So I feel very strongly about that. I'm not for large developments. I think, you know what, we need to slow down. We need to really look at the picture. I think the large buildings, this is what people are moving out of White Plains and all these areas. They're trying to get away from that, and they're coming here, and here it is. So I thank each and every one of you. This is your village. We work for you. So if you're not telling us what you want, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, then we don't know. So I know it got a little loud here tonight, but you're all very passionate. You love this village. You don't want to see anything bad happen to it. Your heart and soul is here, just like mine. I respect that. I respect each and every one of you, and I appreciate everything. So please still stay involved. It's important that the board hears from you. If you're not here, then nobody knows, and they make assumptions. But much respect for all of you that came up and spoke your mind.
I agree with that. Yes.
And Cindy, my question for you, now that AMS has gotten their CO, there are a few residents, a few that have moved in. Have we received their money for their recreation fund money?
Yes, we have.
Wow, and what was that?
171,300, I believe.
All right, so we put that in the kitty to address our recreation
Correct.
infrastructure issues that we need to address.
I have a question. When they get the COs, do they get it for a whole building or just a couple floors?
Just a couple floors for now.
Right,
Floor by
at a time?
floor.
Yep, one floor at a time.
Just so residents know that.
Okay, so any comments from the floor? Would anyone else like to come and speak about anything or ask any questions? Yes, sir, whoever that is in the back. I can't see.
Eric Warner, 159 Seward Street. I think before any of you guys, like Mr. Ferguson, many people said tonight, can do anything to help this village, you got to figure out how to be a team. I've said that to you guys a month and 2 months ago. You have to figure out how to deal with Mr. Capicati. It's not the first time he's threatened a village resident. I've been threatened personally by Mr. Capicati with violence in front of Jody's son and Dan Stewart's wife the night of polling. I was physically threatened with violence and called names. Regardless of anything that happened in my life or what I've done wrong, there's no need to threaten a human being. I don't care who you are, who you think you are, who you're connected to. You don't do that. I've always tried to be the most respectful person, the most helpful person in life. I've always gone for others. I did it for over 25 years. And unfortunately, something went wrong in my life. But that is unacceptable. That is far from unacceptable to go after people. So this board should demand his resignation on this deal. This board should make him abstain from any further votes. This is what should be done. You want to be a team? Learn how to be a team. Get Tony Robinson in here. Somebody show you how to work as a team. Because I work team. Jim Ferguson works team. Guys, we work as teams. And that's how we're successful in our careers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I just have two.
Okay.
Hi, this is totally unrelated, but a couple meetings ago, it's Lisa, First Street. You talked about the Peekskill Reservoir. There were some problems, or there were some petitions against the solar panels being on top of the drinking water. You were going to look into just to make sure it was safe, or if we needed to switch our drinking water supply. Did that have any outcome?
No,
Okay.
actually, it didn't.
Okay.
And I think what we were supposed to do is the board was supposed to write a letter with our concerns over having solar panels on the drinking water. I believe we get about 50% from Peekskill,
Okay.
and we get 50% from Town of Cortland.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's being done and starting to be done, but I know that was something you guys were writing a letter and just looking for feedback, so I don't know.
Drop the ball on that.
Okay.
Thank you,
The next
Lisa.
thing is just quick. I was just walking around AMS, and one thing that from all the meetings that I rewatched, I could have swore that the exit that goes from the building itself and is a little pathway that goes to the crossing, the crossway. I thought that in the meetings that I rewatched, since I've been rewatching a lot of stuff, I thought that was supposed to be 4 or 6 feet wide and basically another exit for people. Men, so when we're talking about emergency stuff, I just thought maybe, I don't know if someone can look at that. To me, when I was just trying in the crosswalk and I saw that little pathway, it looked very skinny and it looked difficult to walk around because you had to walk around this big electric box. There's a lot of landscaping.
Yeah.
They
It
came
looks- yeah.
to our board,
Okay.
I don't know, several months ago,
Uh-huh.
8 months, 9 months, with a few changes that were mandated by
Okay.
either the health department or from Con Ed. One of them was moving that electrical box in the entryway of that path. That path was never lit, so their argument was it wasn't really a safe egress for people anyway. So, you know, they have the other egress coming out on the other side of the
Oh,
hardware
okay, so
store.
I missed that part. So the fact that that path got skinnier, blocked, and is rock and
There
hard to
was-
walk on is okay.
Yeah, and there was 2 other changes in that meeting.
Oh, I
I don't
missed
know
that
which
mean,
one it
sorry.
was, but there was
Okay,
2 other
I
things.
just wanted to
that
bring
they
it up
did.
because
But
I
that
just
would've
happened to
been,
notice
you know,
it.
the original intent on that path was so people
Yeah.
had another exit, but B, they could get out to the Dunkin' Donuts and the pizza.
Yeah, it's tricky now because it's a weird walking surface. It's skinny.
It was
and
always going to
you
be
gotta
that walking
zigzag.
service, from my understanding.
Okay.
For I remember.
Okay.
But you have the other one on the other side of the hardware store and
Okay, I
further
just wanted
down
to
in
bring
the
that
parking
up.
lot.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Lisa. Mr. Jeff, yes,
Just
sir.
one more question. Jeff Viola, 2121 Craft Lane. Mr. Blanchard, is he associated with any of these builders that are coming in here? Have you guys checked it? The guy, that was the point.
The special counsel.
I know what he's talking about. I said, builders with what builders?
The ones that are coming in with these new projects.
Oh, not that I know of. I mean, what I did was looked at his resume. He was counsel down in Yonkers. You know, but for municipalities, not for
Okay.
builders that I could find. But I never asked him the question.
And it's only regarding one applicant, correct?
What?
It's only regarding one applicant.
Yeah, or,
That we
but
know
it
of.
said any
No,
other,
he's
any
only-
other land use we
No,
could use.
he's
It
gonna
just
work
opened
for
to
you
him.
guys,
yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you need him
Yeah.
for. Could be the
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah, he would
rep
have to, if there's another applicant that was his client, I'm sure, you know, he
No,
would
I
have
was
to
just
recuse
asking
himself.
if
himself,
that
he would.
question was ever
Yeah.
asked to him.
There's only one other applicant before us.
Okay.
And he wouldn't be involved with the Giordano project or
No.
any
I
of
don't
the.
think there's need there.
Right.
This one was a different.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's more challenging.
Just one question. 235 Westchester, Greg. The house in Albany, the house that's condemned with the boards up, is that house getting torn down the next?
Near the
Oh.
firehouse?
Yes.
That's
No.
my
I
understanding.
believe, I didn't hear him tearing it down, did you?
No,
I
you
heard they're
know,
renovating it. That's
yeah.
I heard they took all the. I know
I thought
took
they were
all the
tearing it
asbestos
down.
Shingles off the side to clean up the property a little bit, so.
the building
Probably for the
inspector
planning board,
did say that someone did purchase it and they're working on it. There is some work, structural, to do and other work. But I'm glad you brought that up because I spoke to Debbie
Carter.
And on Blakely Avenue, I don't know if the other gentleman's here, it has gone into where the town is going to sell that property. So they have possession, and they will be putting it up for auction. There's another property headed to Indian Point on the left side that's been vacant, run down, and so now that's going to go up on auction too. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Not a question, just a comment, sir. Maybe to answer, and we can all watch the video. Darlene, First Street, Garrett. The lawyer did say when I was standing up here with him, and I will watch the YouTube video, I don't want false information, that he said, I've worked with this builder before, and they're very thorough in their investigation. That's a problem, in my opinion, if he's worked with this builder before.
Yeah, I
My
didn't
humble
hear that.
opinion.
Is he, yeah, the question is, did he work against him, like,
Right.
or did he work?
He said, you know,
As-
yeah, I
like
mean, I'm
with
just
him.
saying that was
Talking about who?
Mr. Blanchard.
You're speaking about the lawyer. don't you
Mr.
know?
Blanchard, yes. Yeah. When we
Definitely.
were up here, he did make that comment,
Mhm.
that it was this builder. And it could be four, again, I don't know, but.
I
it may-
think you're accurate.
Yeah.
It's not the law firm you're talking about. You're talking about, he said the builder?
He said,
Good night, Mr.
I
Bell.
have worked with this builder before. Now, I don't know
Yeah.
what with means, true.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
Maybe
yeah.
for or against or whatever, but I think was followed with, you know, very thorough in their investigations, but not saying he can't be impartial, right? But something the board should consider.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Darlene. Okay, is he leaving? Any other comment? Okay, one more, gentleman.
Can I go?
Yes, if you,
I'm 40 minutes away.
yeah, I'm going to do a very quick exec
Tom
session.
Cavallari,
Yes, sir.
234 Gallagher Street. Just a quick question. I'm not familiar with everything that goes on. I've had conflicts with being able to come here and all that. The AMS is what it's called over there?
Yes.
Monster? My first question is, how did we get from 3 to 5? It's a done thing. It doesn't really matter. My next question is there underground parking in that building?
There's a parking garage.
There's a parking garage.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, there is.
at grade, but it's below.
It's not underground.
It's below living space.
Correct.
Okay. The firemen will tell you, they're still here. Those lithium batteries, man, are
Yeah, there's no
problems.
electric.
I just went through a seminar, huh?
There's no electric vehicle
There's no
parking
electric parking underneath? Okay.
It's all outside, and
All
that
right.
I believe was a recommendation from the planning board.
There you go.